constitution, Kenyans from all walks of life braced the early morning cold to queue and vote for individuals who will represent them for the next 5 years. Today, we continue to bring you this comprehensive coverage of the 2022 general election, even as we continue to gather more information and data as votes continue to be counted across the country. Now, IEBC has said it will ensure that it verifies the results submitted from the constituencies and counties before posting them on its portal.
What you see is the result forms coming in, and already there's a percentage you can see there. And these transmitted forms are also available on our public portal on the website. And I believe the media, the presidential candidates and other stakeholders and Kenyans at large can log on to the public portal and have access to the presidential result form 34As.
The Commission, however, says that it will not announce the results of the presidency, which are broadcasted live, until the presiding officers from the constituencies submit Form 34A from their respective constituencies.
Here at the National Tallying Center, we shall be doing verification of transmitted image of the result from 34As against original Form 34As. So the images are coming in, but our returning officers will bring the original forms, then we shall do verification once we receive them.
This happens as voting in Eldoret's constituency has kicked off after it was suspended yesterday due to insecurity. Yesterday, the IEBC Commission said transporting ballot papers was disrupted following the insecurity incident in Eldoret. So we will be following up on the voting exercise in Eldoret's constituency and bringing you the latest, including the results that continue to stream live here in Nairobi at the Bomas of Kenya with regards to the presidential election results. Now, Independent Electoral Boundaries Commission has posted more than 90% of Form 34As on its portal. Nyeri County is leading after posting more than 98% of the forms. Nandi has submitted more than 97%. Kirinyaga and Machakos have submitted more than 94%. And the voting exercise in 12 voting centers in Kakamega County ended late last night after voting exercise started late yesterday. The counting of votes started past midnight. with IEBC officers in the area asking residents to expect the results from early this morning. Several areas in Kakamega suffered from KIEMS kit machine malfunctions. The areas are Malava, Mumias East, Mumias West and Matungu, where voters were allowed to use the manual register and the voting time was extended. Nakuru South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has accepted defeat in the gubernatorial race in Kiambu County. In a statement that he published on his Facebook page, Kuria, who was running for the governorship position for the Machakos, said that he is returning to serve in the private sector after 8 years of being a member of Parliament. He wrote these, and I quote, "I enjoyed every minute of my 8 years in elective politics. Back to private sector happily." The announcement of Kuria has come even before IEBC completes the counting of votes. Kuria had earlier also announced that he was ready to withdraw from politics if he did not emerge victorious in the general election. Others in the Kiambu gubernatorial race are UDA candidate Kimani Wamatangi, former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo of the Tujibebe Kenya Party, and independent candidate Patrick Wajangol Wainaina. Governor James Nyoro of Jubilee, Mwende Gatabahi of Safina Party and independent candidate Juliet Kimemia are also angling for the same position. Lawyer Cliff Mbeta, who was running for parliament in Bonchari, has also accepted defeat. And Bungoma County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti has asked Kimilili MP Didmus Barasa to surrender to the police immediately following allegations that he shot and killed his political competitor's bodyguard. Barasa has also been asked to surrender his gun and save the police the trouble of looking for him. According to police report, Barasa is alleged to have shot the guard Brian Olunga, who is the guard of DAP Kenya candidate Brian Haemba.
Honorable Didmus was alleged to have shot a person after they disagreed in one of the polling centers. It is alleged that Didmus pulled his gun and shot this fella, and as he was being rushed to the hospital, he unfortunately died. We have ordered the police to hunt for the MP because after he did that, he just disappeared.
The police continue to look for him. I'm Dennis Asset. I'll be back with more. Good morning.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
I like listening to you guys. You're the default radio station in my car in the morning. Even the children listen to you guys.
I agree Parliament has failed this country. And I will say it again. We have not done what we should have done.
We know in this country, the Kenya prison sector is one of the most underfunded sector.
The way it is being done and the way we're calling it Huduma Number them Msema Kweli is because all records will be there. You know, there are people who are now billionaires with no history as to how they got all these assets.
Yes. Anything that the president does that is not in accord with the constitution is an illegal act. You know, he shouldn't be doing it and he should be sitting here and trying to sort of guise it up.
I totally believe live transmission of results and allowing Kenyans to be able to view all these results. I believe that it will be impossible to steal elections.
We're in the middle of the week and Wednesday doesn't look like it's going to be too crazy of a day. Let's take a look at what's happening on the streets today. Doesn't look like it's going to be too much of anything. Started to build up around the eastern bypass and then going out towards Outer Ring, coming into the city from the Thika Superhighway, coming out of Westlands and most areas in Nairobi. We're not going to see too much of an issue this morning, at least not for now. Things are still at a dull roar and it looks like it will be just that way for the rest of today. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE. We're trying to keep things moving this morning. What might be happening where you are, share. And if we find out anything else, we'll share with you as well. It's Wednesday, middle of the week, still low in the city, but we'll keep an eye on things and let you know what's going on. SpiceFM KE again on Twitter.
(102.5) Spice FM, Kisumu. This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up,
8 minutes after 6. Good morning and how are you doing? It's the 10th day of August 2022. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. It's the second day. Polls have opened in Eldoret, Wajir County because it's finally Tuesday. It is. City? How you doing?
I'm actually very well.
You are, right?
Yes.
Very good.
Very, very good indeed.
How was the day yesterday? How was your experience voting?
Actually, it is the same as it has always been, very pleasant. But this time there was an additional pleasantness. One, I thought, I used to wake up very early in the morning to go and vote. And man, there were queues and queues and queues and queues and long queues. So I figured 3:30 going to 4 should be fine.
It's the time.
And they had plastered. I voted at St. George's Primary School. The list of names, blah, blah, blah. So I looked, eventually found my name.
Right.
Okay? Found my wife's name.
Right.
Said, okay, this is very good. So we are both here. But my neighbor had already told me, because I met him as I was walking towards, told me about, okay, the long queue, short queue, this. I figured, well, there are all these IEBC officials. So I asked him, he said, no, just show me your ID card. I showed him, this is your queue. That queue had 3 people ahead of me.
Right.
So I voted in record time. I knew who I was going to vote for. But
you had done your homework.
Me, I knew who I was going to vote for.
From MCA all the way.
I knew who I was going to vote for. Yes. I did not need to be told who to vote for. I knew who I was going to vote for. Then I met an old schoolmate. Someone with whom, the guy was a class ahead of me in school. And I had not seen the guy in years. Now, he was in the longer queue. So when I finished voting, I joined him in his queue and we chatted for the next 40 minutes as his queue. When he was fairly near for him to go and vote. and somebody else in the queue also joined us in the conversation.
What's his first name?
His name is Billy Kaigwa. He's a sculptor.
Were they using first name or surname on the queue?
First name.
First name. So B and C should have been in the same queue.
I don't know how his turned out to be K. Because it should have been.
Yeah.
It should have been.
Okay.
I think they mixed it up. Because my first name begins with the C, so his should have been
ahead of you.
Yes, it should. No. Actually, no. It was C to L. So he was in the A and B.
Oh, A and B.
Yes.
So in that ward and polling station, there must be many Anthonys. Amos.
Adrian.
Antoinette.
Oh, wow.
Anne, Anita.
The usual thing that I've witnessed in previous polls is this. We have a situation where the queuing is an opportunity for people to chit-chat. And we chatted about all manner of things. We caught up, talked about a friend of ours who had passed away, life. Generally, it was a pleasant chat. Very, very pleasant.
All right.
And somebody joined, they decided this conversation was good. They also joined and started contributing to the conversation.
And they knew some of the people you were talking about?
Yes. In fact, the person we were talking about had taught him in school. Yes. He was referring to younger people, so we had to remind him that as far as we are concerned, he belongs to that group of younger people.
Younger people.
Yes. But it was any time I've gone to vote, I've had a very pleasant experience.
Okay.
Yes.
Good one.
And how was your day?
Mine was good as well. I went to vote at 5 minutes to 5. So I was the last person. No,
and were there many people?
No.
You're the last person?
No, I wasn't actually. They had opened the polling station at 7 minutes after 6. So they closed at 7 minutes after 5. And I think there was 1 or 2 people who came after me. But when I walked in, I attended to immediately.
Where were you voting?
In Athi River Polytechnic.
Oh yeah, you told us you're voting at Athi River. Very good.
Athi River Polytechnic. Only 2 polling stations. By the time we were living there had been about 49 to 50% turnout of voters. I moved from there, went to Athi River Primary School, and I asked the presiding officers there. They had more streams. They had 7 streams there. Voter turnout was below 50% by that 6 p.m. And they were still voting. So they continued to vote until about 5:45 into 5:50, various streams. So I was asking them, so why? We were here on time, but the person who had the keys to the classroom was late. So they opened the polls late because they didn't have the key. Anyway, Ndu, how was your day?
My day was good, thank you very much. Yes.
Did your people vote?
Who are my people?
Your people, your friends, your neighbors.
Yeah, like you and CT and, people said, everyone walking around with a little pink finger kind of thing.
And the other people? And the other people? People. Yeah,
voted.
People
voted.
Okay.
People voted.
Good. Good. Welcome to Kenya's biggest conversation. So today we will be doing like what we did yesterday, but today we'll obviously be now getting the results as they have been counted overnight. It's very likely that we will be hearing winners for various seats this morning. We'll be hearing winners for MCR seats. We'll be hearing winners for constituency member of parliament, woman member of parliament, senator or governor. We will not obviously be hearing winner for the presidents, but I think by the end of day today, we should be able to project. We cannot announce and declare the winner. The IEBC will do that, and they say they have to wait for all the forms 47A and B to get to them at Bomas before Wafula Chebukati, the returning officer of the national election, does that. Anyway, even as all these things are happening, we still must keep track of COVID, right?
Indeed. So let me give you global numbers really quickly, as then I give you numbers that are coming in from Kenya, because it still is happening. 591,173,409 is what we're looking at in terms of the numbers that are happening around the world. We're still looking at local numbers, and that's for Kenya, where the Ministry of Health is reporting that in the last 24 hours, we have seen 10 new cases of COVID from a sample size of 1,008. It's 1% positivity rate, really good numbers. Yet another day of 0 recorded deaths for COVID-19. Now, if we look at other stories making the headlines then around the world, many of the countries had opened, isn't it, and said that, look, going into the summer months, rather actually coming to a close of summer now, but they had seen that it was necessary for them not to have people locked up another year. Hong Kong has shortened its COVID hotel quarantine. It's followed by 4 days of medical surveillance at home or at any hotel. And we're still seeing that China, with its robust zero COVID policy, is still closed down the Hawaii of China, at least for now. So folks will be there for at least another 10 days. There's no in and out or out travel, at least until they're able to make sure that they have contained the situation. They're looking at that 486 new cases of COVID within this particular area. So for them, nobody leaves, nobody comes in until these individuals have tested negative for COVID, and everybody else then has gotten a negative PCR test. So that's what they're still dealing with. We're still looking at COVID as an issue. The Western and Northern Hemisphere saying as they go into the cooler months, they're likely to see 5th, 6th and 7th waves of COVID-19.
Okay. Let's take this break. It's 17 minutes after 6 on the 10th of August, 2022, the day of the election results. Let's take a break. Take a look at the weather, and then we'll be doing that thing that we usually do, which is see who's online and give them a shout out.
Okay, so 13 degrees and mostly cloudy conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 23 and lows of 13. It's partly cloudy at 13 in Nakuru, highs of 24. Light rain in Nyeri this morning at 12, highs of 19 and lows of 12. And it's mostly cloudy at 13 in Eldoret. It'll go to highs of 22 and lows of 12. Rain showers going to highs of 27 in Mombasa. We'll see highs of 27 as well in a rainy and wet Malindi, and lows of 21. It's 18 degrees and clear in Kisumu, highs of 28 and lows of 18. At 17 and clear in Kakamega, we'll see highs of 27. Looking out into Kampala, it's mostly clear at 18, highs of 27, and we'll see highs of 28 in a mostly clear Dar es Salaam at 22 currently. Johannesburg, 8 degrees and clear, highs of 22, and we'll see highs of 30 in Lagos, where it's clear this morning at 24. 21 degrees and clear in Kinshasa, highs of 31. It's sunny at 27 out in Beijing. Going into Wednesday afternoon, we'll see highs of 29 and lows of 20. Paris is cloudy at 20, highs of 33 and lows of 19. And we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions in London at 17. It'll go to highs of 29. It's clear at 29 in New York. Coming into Wednesday, we'll see highs of 36 and lows of 24.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah!
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
It's 20 minutes.
Yes, it is. Quite a number of people online this morning.
Mornings
done
right.
But it's tuned in anyway. That's fantastic. Davy Mwane Ireri says, Good morning, Spice. Have missed you listening to the show from Kisumu Dala. And that's Ocheng. Well, where have you been? And it's good to have you back either way. Mash Rock is listening in and is tuned in. Says the most informative radio show. Asante Sana, good morning and welcome to you. Well, Werungeve says you're trying to find out what's going on with the election numbers. Well, they're splashed all over the place, so we'll be looking at some of those this morning. Andrew Franklin, happy post-election Wednesday. There's a day for everything. Tuned in from Lavington. Good to have you tuned in this morning. Kisi Massive tuned in. Kitoka Migori, Nikondani, and that's Jack Omuga. Mukoya Aiwa is tuned in from Kiganjo in Thika. Nyamira County, still stunning, listening in. That's Charles Ogato. Chris is tuned in from Nairobi this morning. Siomo. Where is Siomo? City, you know these places?
Nope.
You don't know Siomo?
Siomo, no.
No?
No. Siomo, I don't know, but I know where the river is.
Oh, thanks. It's really great that you know where that is. So somebody's tuning in from Siomo. Tell us where Siomo is. I'm really interested to know. Marori in Thome Estate, that's where Daniel is. And Ediodor, it's been a minute. How are you? He says, this is the most peaceful election in the last 20 years. Ironically, it is the candidates who have been in skirmishes with each other, and I've missed 5 episodes of the Situation Room. Yes, you have. We've noticed your absence. It's good to have you back.
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. Where have you been?
Candidates skirmishing.
Koru has been listening. People are skirmishing. What's going on? But good to have you in, man. First of my name, Jadwong Musa, is saying the reason he's awake is because he's listening and waiting for the Situation Room. Good to have you this morning. A special shout out to you.
Everybody, welcome. City, are we still in Gabon?
We are still in Gabon.
Oh, done.
Gabon.
It is Gabon.
And what did you say yesterday?
Ngombe.
And Ngombe.
Negombe.
Negong Road.
Negong Road. There's this lady who announces everything in an Uber. Same person. I don't know how she gets into so many vehicles at the same time.
It's a wonder.
Yes. Right. We're still in the country of that one, Gabon. A coward sweats in water.
A coward sweats in water.
Yep. Straightforward, simple, and to the point.
Yep. Okay. www.standardmedia.co.ke. This is where we'll get all the results. Also, follow us social media handles at Standard Media and at SpiceFM KE to get the latest results. Let's look at the headlines. What's on the front pages of the papers?
Well, I have the Standard and the Nation, and on the Nation, on the Standard, the moment of truth, and I'll go into that in a bit of detail. And we have pictures of everybody who's lining up voting. These are pictures from Kondele in Kisumu yesterday, and we then see Raila Odinga casting his vote, as well as Ruto doing his. Bated breath as tallying begins is what is on the front page of The Nation. Final tally, Raila Odinga and William Ruto were level last evening as results from the day's presidential election started streaming in, crowning a day that had been earlier sullied by low voter turnout across the country. So we can go into some of those details later. Low voter turnout. These are the moments of truth that the Standard is putting out. IEBC numbers show this election could witness one of the lowest voter involvement in many years. The KIEMS kit failures, another moment. Electronic identification kits fail in several areas, even as IEBC assured they had put in place mitigation measures. Another moment, violence, vote delays. Some areas in the country witness isolated violence and delays in start time, leading to extension of voting hours. 8 elections planned. Polls called off in Rongai, Eldas and Kitui rural parliamentary seats and Nandi Hills wards battle, in addition to 4 others. The quotes that we hear from Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Now that the ball is in the people's court, and I'm confident the people of Kenya are going to speak loudly in favour of democratic change, while Ruto says, I am looking forward to a victorious day. I am glad that Kenyans have gotten the opportunity to vote for their leaders. 60% is what is projected voter turnout in yesterday's polls, as at 4 p.m. it stood at 56.17%, which pales in comparison to 86% in 2013. and 78% in 2017. So, of course, we're looking throughout all the papers, pictorials telling a story. We've seen very many things happening. But let's look at this poll agency suspends election in 8 areas, which is what a lot of folks also had their attention wrapped around yesterday. The Electoral Commission has shattered hopes of voters in 8 electoral areas by suspending voting for select seats in Mombasa, Kakamega, Nakuru, Meru and Nairobi counties. The IEBC explained that elections in the 8 electoral areas had been suspended because of mismatch of election materials and court orders. Commissioner Francis Wanderi, who we spoke to yesterday as well, said the affected areas are Kakamega and Mombasa governorship elections, as well as Rongai, Kitui Rural, Kacheliba and Pokot South constituencies. The elections for governor in Mombasa and Kakamega will now be held on the 23rd of August. At the same time, elections for MCA to be held in 2 weeks were in Nyaki West in North Imenti and Kwajenga in Embakasi South. Wanderi said elections in Eldas constituency in Wajir County will be held today. I believe polls opened about 25 minutes ago, after security is enhanced. So they needed to wait until that was done. The result for the presidential candidates will be relayed to Nairobi, and they'll be tallied together with those from the rest of the country. In Rongai constituency, where IEBC announced suspension of the election of MP after ballot papers could not be found yesterday. Voters were allowed to vote for candidates in other seats. Although voters turned up at polling stations, some could be heard contemplating avoiding the entire exercise. So those are some of the things that we saw yesterday. There's a lot more that happened during the day, but we're seeing that those 8 areas where suspension had happened, there's a clearer date now in terms of what will happen with the gubernatorial election in Mombasa and Kakamega, and then others we've seen started this morning. So all of this now combined towards the final results that we'll see. All right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So the Nation headline, if you look at what they're saying, is also the same, just starting to tally the numbers and looking back at how turnout happened and everything. There is a story, not a story, but an analysis on page 5 of The Nation by Dennis Galava, who is a former managing editor with The Nation, who says, not business as usual, what the low turnout reveals about Kenyans and their leaders. Well, we saw yesterday that by 4 o'clock, the IEBC said, they were getting the figures of the turnout from their presiding officers countrywide, and they were saying that by 4 o'clock they had 56% turnout registered. So 56% by 4 o'clock, looking back and wondering, okay, is that a good figure? Is that a bad figure? Is that good turnout? Is that bad turnout? In very many areas, you actually went and found very short queues or no queues at all. 56% by 4 o'clock, polls closed at 5 o'clock. So even if we say, okay, there's some areas where, voting was extended for a while, we're just likely maybe to go to 60% of the voter turnout. What does that mean? This is what Dennis Galava is looking at, and he says, the political class led by the outgoing DP William Ruto and his nemesis Raila Odinga took the country through a 4.5-year heated campaign period defined by massive public rallies. Harsh messages were exchanged. The messages dwelt mostly on hostile assessments of each other's character. Initial figures from the IEBC indicate of the nearly 22 million registered voters, about 12.6 million had turned out to vote by 5 p.m. yesterday when the voting exercise was supposed to be complete, accounting for about 56%. The figure could rise up to 59% probably. This compares poorly to 2017 when 79% of the registered voters participated in that election. If you just look at that, 79 to say 59, it's a 20% difference, but it's a 20% difference of a higher number. Right. Okay, but still it's a 20% difference. It's expected that the numbers could go slightly higher when voting takes place in the next few days in 3 constituencies in which elections did not take place due to technical or security-related factors. A number of explanations are possible. First, Mount Kenya factor. It's the first time in Kenya's history when the Mount region did not have a major contender for the highest office. Lawyer and priest David Mwaure Waihiga's candidature was lowly rated, and his compatriots from the mountain did not take him seriously. So important was the mountain that each of the 4 tickets in the race had a candidate from the region. All the running mates were from the mountain, with a Waihiga ticket fielding both the president and the deputy from the mountain region. Yet, if the presidential candidates explain what happened in the mountain, it does not explain what happened in other parts of the country. Kenya's two foremost mobilizers have not converted the massive voters who attend their rallies into voters. Kenyans, especially in the mountain, tend to vote against someone or something. This time, so what's happening in this particular one? We'll be looking at this in greater detail because there's clearly something that could be attributed to this. Very many things, including the fact that the election was then postponed in these areas. You may say that some people felt, okay, now I'll just go and participate in the next time. This one, I don't have to go. I was going to participate in the election because I wanted to support so-and-so as my governor of choice, whether it's in the case of Kakamega and Mombasa, or my MP of choice, whether it's the case of Kinarongai and the others, and Pokot and what's that other constituency? Kachaliba and Kitui Rural. You know, so maybe all those factors come into play.
Come into play for sure.
It's 6:30. Let's take a look at the traffic. Are people back to work today?
Not really.
Yesterday was the public holiday.
Yeah.
Today is not a public holiday.
No, but
okay.
You know.
Okay. Yeah, I know. You tell us.
Yolanda Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, you know it's
Sugar and spice.
Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship, so it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask a chick, how many guys have you been with? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to SpiceFM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. Not much happening on these Nairobi streets this morning. It's coming out into the city centre. Really nothing going on. So I think maybe folks didn't get that memo that today was not a public holiday, but it looked like it could be a self-imposed one. All right, coming out of Westlands, not too bad either. Getting in and out of the CBD will be not an issue at all. Coming off Thika Superhighway, at least for now, it's flowing really freely and it doesn't look like it's going to get sticky much. Outer Ring, where there's a bit of a hustle, getting off of Airport Road out towards Outer Ring just earlier, minutes ago, but that has been sorted out and it's not an issue then getting in and out of town. It's 6:30 though, still early. Let's wait and see what it looks like in about half hour or so, and an hour from now when we should be in normal traffic hour, we will let you know what it looks like. Help us out here too as well, folks. Talk to us, SpiceFM KE on Twitter. We're trying to keep things moving this morning.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
C.T. Muga.
The Business Daily tells us new president will face a full entry of economic woes. This isn't welcome to the party. This is welcome to the misery.
Woe unto him. Okay.
Who desireth the position of president in Kenya.
Wow.
Wow. They shall definitely inherit the earth. The winner of Kenya's presidential election will have an entry of economic and political challenges to solve when he assumes office. The polls happen in the middle of an economic crisis, with the country struggling with inflation that was at a 5-year high at 8.3% in July, on the back of costly food and fuel, which have said of continuously rising cost of food and fuel. That is my version of it. The price rises, partly fueled by the war in Ukraine, here we come again, have deepened economic problems triggered by the coronavirus pandemic, yes, including stagnant wages and growing youth unemployment. Okay, fine. Opposition leader Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto, neck and neck in the opinion polls, have each promised a solution to the cost of living problems. The country is also grappling with soaring public debt, uncertainties over maize flour, and fuel subsidies that have attracted criticism from some economists, and a shilling hit with 14 straight months of depreciation against the dollar. The thing that I've wondered, though, when they say there's maize shortage, is it a shortage of the 100 shillings maize, or is the other maize which is not 100 available?
Maize flour.
Ndio inaongea.
Hakuna unga bwana.
Whether it is
unga hata 1000 hakuna.
1000.
Kuna.
Okay, right.
That's the thing.
Right. So, Business Daily have told us what
new president comes in. Kimeumana.
You
The back page of the Nation. It's the same.
Same
Millers worry about fate of maize flour subsidy. More than 100 millers involved in the state-backed maize flour subsidy scheme have been thrown into panic due to conflicting communication on the fate of this initiative. Millers participating in the subsidy were on Monday informed by the NCPB that the program had been ended, an assertion that the Agriculture Ministry denied in a rejoinder aimed at appeasing the millers who are still owed hundreds of millions of shillings by the government. Good evening, team. The head of warehousing and hub management, Mr. Jones Kanya, is it Jones or Jones, has called to inform us that the GOK maize flour subsidy program has been suspended with immediate effect. The last invoices should be dated today. That was the first communication from the ministry. This created fear among the millers, with some sources familiar with the operation of the subsidy indicating to the Nation that about 1 billion shillings worth of invoices submitted by millers to the ministry remained unsettled by close of Monday. 1 billion Kenya shillings. The ministry, however, issued another communication retracting the earlier statement, but only stating that its command center established to process invoicing for millers would be closed during the election day. It has come to our attention that a message for NCPB staff to discontinue operating at mills has been distributed. This was a miscommunication, and regional leads and officers are advised that operations continue as normal. Please note the subsidy program is still in effect. This is what the ministry was saying. The command center will not be operational for one day, the 9th of August, and will resume in office on Wednesday, the 10th of August, which is today. Some millers who spoke to the Nation and whose dues have not been settled expressed fear, worrying that the program could be ended abruptly and leave their supplies worth of millions unsettled. So they have been supplying maize flour worth millions and billions. To who?
I don't know, because on the shelf there's no... But what time period are we talking about here, just for clarity purposes?
Up to Monday.
Where have they been supplying it to?
See, that's what yes.
Because on the shelves there's no flour.
There are invoices worth over 1 billion shillings stuck at the ministry that has not been paid. This is what the millers are saying. So they've been invoicing, they've been giving out unga to... Where has the unga been going?
Where I really would like to know. Unless we're looking at a situation where as soon as you deliver it, it's mopped up by everybody because everybody is, trying to get some.
That
Is that the
actually
case?
is what happens.
Isn't it?
The other day I was in
Yes.
the supermarket
Mm.
and I saw a queue of people, so I asked the watchman.
What's happening here?
Yes.
Wanapeana nini?
Iko nini hapa? kuna politician hapa. Hapana. Mzee wanangojea unga.
So as soon as it enters the shelf like this, it goes...
Actually, he told me, in fact, ile lorry ambayo imeleta unga iko kule nyuma. So wana offload. Now, got to the supermarket, got out. The queue was longer, which means people had told others that it was there.
Yeah.
So I decided, let me just ask him further. He says, hawa wengine watakuja na hii unga vile imekuja itaisha tu. And it was a lorry load.
Exactly. So that's probably what's happening. It's like what happened with petrol when there was an issue and there were lines and whatever. A tanker comes and, you tell your pal, hey, there's fuel here. Before they get there, it's gone. So same thing's happening with the flour.
So something is happening. Yeah. So the only maize flour available in the market, then that's what you're saying, is this subsidy one.
Because there cannot be a Waluke situation whereby millers are saying they're invoicing and there's no flour.
And there's no flour coming.
No.
There's a photo accompanying this story taken on August the 5th. A man walking out of a supermarket with packets of maize flour as other people queue to buy the 100 bob subsidized maize flour along Digo Road in Mombasa. So this guy is carrying 4 packets of unga. And there are people queuing to get into the supermarket, to the shop to buy. So probably this is what's happening. Okay.
But As we speak.
Eh.
Okay, yesterday supermarkets were not open.
Unless you are well connected, you have a watchman guy who will call you and tell you, lori imekuja.
Nimekusimamia kwa line. Something like that. We're still looking at a situation right now.
City, that askari didn't ask you. Mzee unataka?
Unataka ngapi?
No, he actually didn't ask me.
Niko na mtu hapa.
You know the thing about, if you go to a supermarket often enough, they do know you. And even the watchman knows you because they've seen you there enough times. So, I, as far as he's concerned, I was asking and he was giving me information.
That's pretty often for somebody, a security person at
say,
a supermarket
this
to
supermarket,
actually know you.
Hey, the security guy knows you in the supermarket.
Not corner shop.
No,
supermarket.
Yes.
What?
But I chat to watchmen before. I always chat to them.
Everybody chats to watchmen chat to everybody. Ding ding, and they're doing that sweep. Habari ya leo. Habari ya leo.
Shindaji leo.
Then they finish. Yeah, I chat a little longer.
You're like mzuri sana na yako.
Mzuri. Then I ask, now what happens when this thing fails? That's my perennial question. So when this thing fails, what happens? So fanya inspection na mkono. I said, Ati?
No.
So, it seems that there's stuff going on here and there, and people are assaulting voters and assaulting others. We heard that somebody died yesterday as a result of somebody engaging a weapon, etc., etc. Let's look at one story that will point to that. Nakuru Town East MP David Gikaria was yesterday arrested over alleged assault. He was not the only one who's been asked to show up at the police station. Nakuru County Police Commander Peter Mwanzo confirmed the arrest of the MP, saying he had assaulted and injured a voter at a polling station. Mr. Gikaria was detained at the Nakuru Central Police Station. He was arrested by police at Naka Primary School in Nakuru West. He has also caused a lot of commotion and disturbance at the polling station, and we are not going to allow that, Mr. Mwanzo said. He added that the victim had been hospitalized after sustaining injuries. So this is not the only one that we saw. We did see yesterday as well that a gentleman unfortunately lost his life, and it is alleged that Member of Parliament Didmus Baraza is behind this in one way or another, and he's currently being asked by police to appear at any police station, to come and tell them what would have happened. But unfortunately, that man lost his life yesterday, and he is no more because of whatever it is that happened. So we've seen isolated cases of this. And it was unfortunate that this turned out in death yesterday. Here we have another case where somebody is in hospital, and arrests of none other than those candidates who are vying for these seats. Not the supporters, not the crowds, the candidates themselves. So the question is, what on earth is going on here?
There are things you cannot explain.
Yeah.
And even trying to explain it doesn't quite get to the heart of the matter. But the thing that seems obvious to me, yes, this election is being characterized by a low voter turnout. But the thing that it is characterized by, which is the very, should we say, higher decibels, is stress and tension.
Yes.
What it lacks for in terms of voter turnout, just the pressure that is involved.
It's made up for.
Yes.
It's made up for.
The drama around it, and this has to do with those who are contesting and probably the people who support them. Because if you look at just the reports that we're seeing in the papers, the skirmishes are few, but how often do you hear of people who are themselves candidates being directly involved? See, I don't need 10. 2 reported.
Yep.
I know we have a problem.
Indeed.
Because the rule is that you normally hire goons to do that. But the time you're the one who's being involved directly.
You hire yourself.
when you get the business done yourself.
What sort of tension are we talking about here?
It's crazy. Even looking at that particular incident that we are reporting in the Chebukwabi polling station in Kimilili constituency. I mean, so opponent enters the polling center where now the counting is happening, finds the other candidate, walks out, candidate follows him out, scuffle, gun drawn, shot not in the air but directly at someone.
Someone's head.
Hits somebody in the head.
Forehead. I mean, come on. Is that a mistake?
So police have told the man,
Report.
Ujisalimishe ama.
You know, the thing is this, my friend. If we had more than one head into our body, you would say he was aiming.
He was aiming for the other one.
Yes, but one head.
Come on.
Which means one forehead. Intent is clear.
This one.
You shoot someone in the head, what do you think is going to happen? That the bullet will ricochet?
Come on. With intent to,
If you shoot in the direct direction where people are, there is a likelihood that you're going to shoot someone.
You're going to hit somebody.
Okay?
Yes.
Not shooting in the air, not shooting in the ground. No. Shooting directly at people.
And what makes this situation even more dire is that it's in the full glare of many witnesses.
Yes.
I do not doubt that somebody filmed it.
It's very...
Yep.
It's bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, this one.
It's inexplicable.
Police should take maximum effort to make sure. You know, the thing that we need here is that it goes into murder, right?
Yes, it
or
does.
even manslaughter. You've got to definitely prove that this person did it. Can this case assume that Didmas Barasa is the accused person, is taken to court, then also assume that Didmas Barasa is announced as the winner of this election? How long will this case take in court?
Oh my God.
What will be happening in the meantime? So we'll have another MP serving as a gun-related case is going on in court.
You know, the truth of the matter is this, we hear and we read of cases similar to this one, and part of the problem with these cases is that there is insufficient evidence.
Yes.
Right? So they're looking for the evidence. That's what takes time. Here, the evidence actually jumps and shouts at you.
It's hitting you in the face, man. The evidence is slapping you in the face.
Yes.
So really,
it is something to watch and to determine how our judicial system is going to actually handle this one.
this is not a good showing, guys.
It's not at all.
It really is not.
It's not at all. It basically just vomits the shoes of those who wrote the Chapter 6 of the Constitution.
Precisely.
And everybody else who talks about leadership integrity.
Yes.
And raising the bar. It just says, people at across the country are 50-50. Some are for, others are against the digital registry system at the Lands Ministry. So, first of all, let's start with the Kenyans who work at the Lands Ministry. At least half of the staff at the Ministry of Lands are still not supportive of the change from the manual to the digital land information management system known as ARTHISASA, dealing a blow to efforts to instill efficiency and curb graft. Land CS Farida Karonei told the nation that some landowners are also hesitant to list their property on the portal, even though the ministry has already verified data on 100,000 properties, paving way for property transactions on the platform that was launched last May. She said the challenge is twofold. Uptake by professionals is still a challenge. Our staff are still struggling with accepting the fact that we are completely migrating from the manual platform. So sometimes, because of some issues of not wanting to accept that we have moved on, they will tell customers that we are still digitizing. The CS said the ministry completed digitizing land records last year by scanning over 30 million documents and was only cleaning up data on land records to ensure integrity, accuracy and completeness before feeding it into ARTHISASA. We have the challenge of our staff going through the process of change management. If you are deploying a change of this magnitude, that's expected because it's a very radical change. Some resistance is expected. Up to 50% of the staff that we are working with are convinced that we are doing the right thing. The others, we will continue to convert them over time. 50% of the people who should be championing and using the system are still failing it now.
Iffy about it. You wonder why.
You know, 50% is a very high number.
Yes, it is.
But
it's very high.
If we take it to be a true representation of the resistance, because that's what it is, does it not then speak of why it is that the rot that we've had in this ministry continues to persist?
Yep.
And this isn't hearsay. That ministry has been characterized by some unspeakable things over the years. Yes.
Ukora ya hali ya juu. Do you think they should have started by first of all getting everybody at the lands ministry on board?
They probably did, but they also probably didn't. You know why I say probably didn't? Sometimes you involve people at that early stage. There is the fear that they might actually interfere with the process. So you start it, complete it. Then the problem is you introduce a system to people who don't know much about it. And now you want to customize them to how it functions. And the resistance will be in the learning process. They will really take their time in understanding how that system works.
And you see, that's where I see a problem. Because if you roll out a system and the internal publics are not on board, then what you're doing is you're exposing this system to failure at a very high magnitude.
Yes. Ask the question, by all means.
Were we not told previously that, fortunately or unfortunately, that the major players in these corruption cartels were within the land ministry itself?
Yes.
So when you bring a system, essentially, that would stop this from happening, do you see a situation whereby those involved in the dirt would be very welcoming of a system that would remove the money that comes into their hands on a daily basis?
Not easily.
Not easily. It wouldn't be easy to do that. So for me, I can see clearly why they would not be accepting of this new system.
So what would you do? So this is your reality, but you've got to move. So how do you mitigate? How do you bring these people on board? Either you fire them or you bring them on board.
When they say your leg is rotting, what do they do to it?
Chop it off. So amputation.
Yes, no.
But
how else are you going to do it?
You're amputating the record bearer, the person who actually knows where the file is.
You think the people in the land ministry don't know who the next person is who may be ripping something off, skimming off the top?
They do.
No.
So if you fire 50% of staff at the lands ministry,
you're sending a message, though, are you not? But is that not how we have to deal with this thing? Radically.
But then who's going to do the job?
Now you hire new people. You start again. Truth. It's uncomfortable in a conversation, isn't it? It's uncomfortable to have the conversation. But they keep saying, in my village, they say, in my language rather, they say that you cannot wear a new dress on the body that has not taken a bath. To still soil the dress.
Nonetheless,
to still soil the dress. So it's up to you to decide how you want to deal with it.
If we bring in the discussion of corruption, then we must extend the discussion to how it is we treat corruption in this country, how we
coddle
view
it. We get in bed with it.
Yes.
We, make it our friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is why anyone running on a ticket of overhauling a system and a straightforward system, the likelihood is that you will not get votes.
Yes, no. So it depends on just how you want to deal with it. That's it. If you want to be radical with it and get rid of it, you can. You won't be popular. They will call you all manner of things, but you would have started something, right? It's really up to how you want to deal with it. We can continue how it's not comfortable.
You know when we hear these stories of multiple, what is this thing called? Title deeds. Now, at an academic level, it's an interesting thing to discuss. But look at the individuals who have paid for that land, have got a piece of paper that is supposed to guarantee them a certain security of ownership, and then it turns out to be false. The pain that is, it's enormous pain.
Yes.
And it's enormous difficulty.
Yes.
Now, how then do you say you have a situation such as the one that we're talking about, and you say that you're finding difficulties bringing these issues to a head? But the truth is you are always going to.
It was going to happen. The question now that I'm asking is, so how do you address it? When you start rolling out such a project, you know very well you've got to have stakeholder engagement. One of the most critical stakeholders that you have are your staff. And one of the biggest threats to your new project is the same staff. How do you deal with it? I hear you saying that you get rid of the ones that, okay. it's 50% attrition. That would have taken you forever because you'd have court cases from here to high heavens on how you've dismissed staff or even transferring them, but you're transferring them and they still have connections in the ministry. How else do you bring them on board? Because they have, in one way or the other, you must have at least 80% of your staff on board. Now, Farida is telling us more than a year down the road,
they still haven't been able
50%.
But you know, when we talk figures and statistics, sometimes it can get a bit confusing. Consider, for instance, if you set these records straight. We had Farida in the studio and she explained to us some of the issues. Let's talk about public land and land that was set aside for public utility. Okay? Let's talk about Nairobi and let's talk about Eastlands. Remember, we've asked this question, where are the recreational spaces in Eastlands? I'm sure they existed in the plan, but physically right now they don't exist. Now, tell me, those who've owned it, bought it, sold it, done whatever they've done with it, would such a person or would such people really want this thing that we're discussing to take off? Because it would mean setting very many wrongs right. It is a problem. I'm talking about public spaces because that's the simplest thing for me to talk about. But what about other pieces of land whose acquisition and ownership is dubious and doubtful? And there are many. Now, if we leave Nairobi and just traverse the country and go elsewhere, we'll find similar stories. Is that not so?
Yes.
Okay. Now, all these people who are involved in these schemes, and they're not a few people, how much effort do you think they're going to put in ensuring that they delay these processes?
Oh my God. Probably a lot more, probably in equal measure to how much they did to acquire this thing in the first place.
Yes.
To secure it and to make sure that it doesn't get touched or moved from their possession. My goodness. Just as much, if not more. And so the interest for them is to make sure that such a system does not exist. You see, they'll fight it tooth and nail.
Anyway, that ship has sailed. Let's see. Let's see. Are they going to force it to capsize in the high seas? Or will they accept to move with it? Something is happening today, this afternoon, right?
Yeah.
Globally.
So Samsung, the global launch of Samsung Unpacked is happening this afternoon, 4 p.m. and it will stream live on KTN Home, and we will be looking at the cutting edge technology of the Generation Z Flip and the Generation Z4 Fold phones, right on the cutting edge of technology. And Samsung is saying, look, we've done so much, now we are showing it to the world. Having an opportunity to come to you and say, look, join us. It's the 10th of August. That's today. Put the global leaders of foldable technology and smartphones, which gives users access to the very best smartphones, tech and features in a much smaller and comfortable form factor. So you can watch the global Samsung Galaxy Unpacked live stream today, 4 p.m. on KTN Home or online on Samsung.com or the official Samsung YouTube channel, and use the hashtag Galaxy Unpacked to join the conversation today.
Indeed. Now, we are also today getting the results coming in from across the country for the various seats from MCR all the way to president. And we have our correspondents across the country. We'll be getting in touch with them from 7 a.m. all the way to 10 o'clock to hear what the results are, how they're coming out from the various polling stations that have now become counting stations to the tallying centers, from the constituency to county to national tallying center. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. This is your election station. This is SpiceFM broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook and www.spicefm.co.ke. A very good morning to you. It's now 7 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is Newswire Dennis after Kenyans went to the polls to exercise their civic duty as enshrined in the Constitution. Kenyans from all walks of life braced their early morning calls to queue and vote for individuals who will represent them for the next 5 years. Today, we continue to bring you this comprehensive coverage of the 2022 general elections, even as we continue to gather more information and data as votes continue to be counted across the country. Now, IEBC has said it will ensure that it verifies the results submitted from the constituencies and counties before posting them on its portal.
What you see is the result forms coming in, and already there's a percentage you can see there. And these transmitted forms are also available on our public portal on the website. And I believe the media, the presidential candidates, and other stakeholders and Kenyans at large can log on to the public portal and have access to the presidential result form 34As.
The Commission, however, says that it will not announce the results of the presidency, which are broadcasted live, until the chief election officers in the constituency submit Form 34A from their constituencies.
Here at the National Tallying Center, we shall be doing verification of transmitted image of the result from 34As against original Form 34As. So the images are coming in, but our returning officers will bring the original forms, then we shall do verification once we receive them.
This as voting in Eldas constituency is ongoing after it was suspended yesterday due to insecurity. The IEBC Commission said while transporting ballot papers, there were disruptions following the insecurity, including guns that were shot in the air. Now, Independent Election Boundaries Commission IEBC has posted more than 90% of Form 34As on its portal. Nyeri County is leading after posting more than 98% of the forms. Nandi has submitted more than 97%. Kericho and Machakos have submitted more than 94%. The exercise is ongoing. We are keeping tabs on how the forms are getting there as we await IEBC to start giving us the results. Now, voting exercise in 12 voting centers in Kakamega County ended late last night after voting exercise started late as well. The counting of votes started past midnight with IEBC officers in the area asking residents to expect the results from this morning. Several areas in Kakamega suffered from KIEMS kits machine malfunctions. The areas are Malava, Mumias East, Mumias West and Matungu, where voters were allowed to use the manual register and the voting time was extended. And Gatun South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria has accepted defeat in the gubernatorial race in Kiambu County. In a statement he published through his Facebook page, Kuria, who was running for governorship through Chama Chakazi, said that he is returning to serve in the private sector after 8 years of being an MP. He wrote these, and I quote, "I enjoyed every minute of my last 8 years in elective politics, back to the private sector happily." The announcement of Korea has come even before IEBC completes the counting of votes. Korea had earlier also announced that he was ready to withdraw from politics if he did not emerge victorious in the general elections. Others in the Kiambu gubernatorial race are UDA candidate Kimani Wamatangi, former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo of Tujibebe wa Kenya Party, and independent candidate Patrick Wajangal Wanaina. Governors James Nyoro of Jubilee, Mwende Gatabaki of Safina Party, and independent candidate Juliet Kimemia are also angling for the same position. Mayoral Lawyer Chief Cliff Ombeta, who was running for parliament seat in Bonchari, has also conceded defeat. And Bungoma County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti has asked Kimilili MP Didmas Baraza to surrender to the police immediately following allegations that he shot and killed his political competitor's bodyguard. Baraza has also been asked to surrender his gun and save the police the trouble of looking for him. According to a police report, Barasa is alleged to have shot the guard Brian Olunga, who is the guard of the APK candidate Brian Haemba.
Honorable Didmas was alleged to have shot a person after they disagreed in one of the polling centers. It is alleged that Didmas pulled his gun and shot this fella, and as he was being rushed to the hospital, he unfortunately died. We have ordered the police to hunt for the MP, because after he did that, he just disappeared, and the police are now pursuing him, but we are telling him to come and surrender himself before we get the hold of him. It was very unfortunate, and I want to pass my condolences to the family of the late Bryant. This young man died not because of his own fault, but because of mistake of a leader who is alleged to have caused that death.
We are following up on development of the story and will bring you in a subsequent news bulletin. I'm Dennis Asada. Good morning.
All right, not much in the city this morning, and we're probably going to see this for the next couple of days. In terms of folks who have not really come back into the city, we should have been seeing that by now at least 7 o'clock. But into the CBD, coming then from around Kamkunji at the roundabouts, not much happening. Off the Thika Superhighway, we'll see just some as you're getting to the entry of Muranga Road and then into the city. On Langata Road, that looks really good. You're getting into the city with no trouble whatsoever. It's not slowing down anywhere it is that you are in the city and in the country as well. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let us know what's going on where you are. It's a few minutes after 7 and we're right bang in the middle of the week. And we'll see when folks start trickling back in. But for today, it looks like traffic will be the least of your worries.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down.
7 after 7.
This
Good morning
is
and
the
how are you doing?
Situation
Welcome
Room,
to the second hour
the
of Kenya's
only
biggest
way to
conversation,
start your
the
day.
Situation Room on SpiceFM and online. We are tracking the numbers as they come in. We'll shortly be getting in touch with our correspondents across the country from the various constituencies. We have somebody at every constituency tallying centre, and we have somebody at every county tallying centre, and then of course we've got a team at Bombers of Kenya. This is the National Tallying Centre. So as soon as we get those good numbers, we'll be able to then announce them. Our reporters will be telling us about them. Let's begin the hour with the day's proverb from Gabon. You're told it's not Gabon.
See Gabon, Gabon. Yes, a coward sweats in water.
A coward sweats in water. A coward sweats in water. Okay.
That one even I didn't understand.
Okay.
Oh, that's why we're silent? Because we don't get it?
No, I didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get it. I'm still trying to get it.
What do you get from this? What are they saying?
I need a minute.
Yeah, it took an hour and I still haven't gotten it.
A coward sweats in water.
There's nothing to be afraid of. So even in the situation whereby nobody can see that you are scared, you're still scared.
Water by its very nature is supposed to have a cooling effect.
Yeah.
Okay? Sweat is often related to heat.
Heat.
Whether it is heat derived from
Or
fear.
the expansion of energy.
Yes, exactly. Now science is speaking. Yes, like that. So now, water, cooling effects.
It shouldn't be.
Temper.
In this situation, you ought not to be sweating.
Yes.
But because you are fearful by nature, you are.
You are. Or
Or
you are in water. So we shouldn't be noticing any other fluids on you.
on you. We should just know that
We should
because
just
of the
know
water.
you have water all around you. But because you're a coward, we will see water, but we'll also be able to see the sweat. Can still see it.
Now that is an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of it at all.
No.
No.
Tutaendelea kuchambua. Let's go to the counties now. Beldine Waliola is our correspondent in Machakos County. She's on the line now. Good morning, Beldine.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thank you. You well?
I'm well. It's quite cold here in Machakos.
A long night it has been, I'm sure.
Yes, it has been a long night, but so far the counting of votes is going on in most polling stations. We've just gone to the county tallying center. There's still no results coming in because the constituents are taking time to bring in the results. But at Machakos University, where is the tallying center for Machakos constituency, we've seen results streaming in. And so far, no official results. But what you've seen so far, we've gathered so far, is when it comes to gubernatorial seats, we have Wavinya leading in most of the votes coming in, and also followed closely by Yoka. But we're hoping that they will officially announce the results. So we've seen that Kangundo, they've finished tallying their results, most of their Member of Parliament results. So we're heading there just to get, if we could get official information on who is leading and what is going on in Kangundo. But so far in Machakos, it's still voting, they're still counting the votes.
All right. Built in from the various polling stations to the constituency level, are there no results at all that you're able to tell us, maybe from the constituency tallying? I know you've just told us that it's Kangundo that you've heard that now they have finished their tallying.
Yes.
Is there no other constituency that has finished tallying by now?
Not yet. We're waiting for Matungulu and other constituencies like Masinga. They're still counting their votes. So hopefully when they come in, we'll be able to update.
Okay.
Beldine, I mean, we've seen around the country as well that, from whatever camp it is that folks are in, everybody seems to be declaring a premature victory or what they feel is a victory. Are we seeing the same thing happening here that could cause some confusion in the ranks?
Yes, like here in Machakos town, the incumbent MP is already conceding defeat. He has said that he's ready to step down if the votes continue as they are. Is coming second when it comes to the votes that's being tallied at the moment. So we're hoping to see if he'll concede defeat later on when the official results will be coming in. Yeah.
When you say the results are coming in, first of all, good morning, Beldin. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yes, I'm CT Muga. Now, when you say the results are coming in, are you in a position to determine what percentage of results have come in so that even when we look at the results, we know what percentage we're dealing with?
So far, when it comes to presidential results, out of the 6,080 around votes that were casted, only around 50,000 have been counted. So we're hoping that.
Sorry, could you repeat that again, please?
Yeah. Out of the the votes which were casted, only 40,000 of the presidential results have been submitted. So we're hoping that other polling stations will submit them as time goes by.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Beldini, thank you very much for this update, and I hope as soon as you get to Kangundo, we'll be able to get in touch with you. Then we can get at least the results of the Kangundo parliamentary seat.
Yes, I'll share updates when I get there.
Asante sana. Beldin Waliaula, our correspondent in Machakos County. We will be reaching out to all our correspondents across the country. Crossing over from Machakos, we'll be going to Kiambu, we'll be going to Kisumu, we'll be heading down to Mombasa as well. We'll be going to especially Makueni County yesterday because we saw a number of polling stations being affected. Very many KIEMS kits did not work in one constituency, Kibwezi West. 84 KIEMS kits had issues. And this is what the IEBC said. And I mean, this is all in one constituency, one county. Then you ask yourself, so what happened?
So what time did they start voting?
They started voting later in the day. And this is the other question. Why did they take so long to start voting? There appears to have been some confusion with the presiding officer and the returning officer and the constituency IEBC manager and the county bosses as well on what to do in the event a KIEMS kit fails. IEBC had said, of course, that there were several backup KIEMS kits for every ward.
On standby.
Were the KIEMS kits then delivered on time? And the other thing is, what do you mean by a KIEMS kit has failed? Because the first thing you do is you try the biometrics or the 10 fingers, right? By the time that fails, and the next thing you try is the alphanumeric.
Yes.
Take the ID, insert the ID number, and then let it produce the result. Are we saying that all that did not work for all the 84 kits?
Every process that you should have gone through to make sure that you have a secondary option for every of those 84 then did not happen. That's essentially what we're saying. So then I don't think that you can even talk about this failure being minimal. I think you then have to talk about it being massive. That if you have 84 kits around the country that did not meet this mark that you're talking about, that's a big problem.
Is it around the country?
One constituency.
So this is it.
Imagine.
So why I'm saying around the country is if this is happening in one area,
In total, there were about 200 and something KIEMS kits that didn't work around the country.
Sure, and when we heard from the press conference of the IEBC yesterday, it was being passed off as, you know what, guys?
It's just
from the
0.03%.
From the 52 what thousand that we have, and only 200 have failed. It's no big deal.
But the things that they told us didn't seem to work out. When they said there was a backup, we asked, said it's right there.
How far is the backup from
we asked
the area?
We're told it's right there, meaning it doesn't fail. You simply open the box, remove another one, and continue. or did I misunderstand it?
They said there were 8 backup kits per ward.
Right there.
Per ward.
Yes.
See, now our ward has several polling stations.
They do.
The thing is, how long does it take? If the kit is 2 kits have failed here and there was a backup in this particular polling center, what do you do to bring the others?
Eric, 84. When we say there were 84 kits that failed, okay, how many had they slated for this particular place?
Yeah.
So that we can understand the percentage that failed. Okay.
Many questions. We'll be going to Stephen Zioka, who will tell us what's happening in Makueni this morning. But first, let's cross over to Wajir. Wajir County, where Eldoret is now voting this morning. Remember, this was suspended yesterday and it was adjourned to this morning. Polls opened at 6 a.m., we hope. Ahmed Aiden is our correspondent there. He's on the line. Good morning, Ahmed.
Good morning.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning. It must have been a long day yesterday and a long night. Have all stations opened on time this morning at 6 a.m.?
Yes, voting has started in all the polling stations in Eldoret constituency. You know what happened yesterday. The voting was halted after disruptions which emanated from, some aggrieved supporters of one of the member of parliament, that's candidates for member of parliament in that area. They felt like there was some kind of 1 or 2 issues that they were complaining against, and so it has led to the fact that the postponement has since culminated, and then this morning voting has started. Remember that this voting, the Eldoret constituency, there are 2 members of parliament in that area who are contesting. The current member of parliament, Kainan, and ODM candidate Ahmed Borai Arale. So Borai Arale's team felt like some of the selected presiding officers were probably loyal to the current member of parliament, and so they couldn't reach any consensus early yesterday. But then late, there was one or two changes which happened in that some of the presiding officers were transferred. Some of the other deputy presiding officers who were probably were not loyal to the current MP. That's what, according to some of the information that we got. And so the voting this morning started very well, and so we expect things to go on smoothly from here, because that one has rather resulted in a delay. But then all other polling stations voting did stop, or did end. Some of it ended like late last night, because there was some kits that failed in a couple of polling stations. But then this morning results are trickling in, and we expect the one of Eldoret to as well go on smoothly from here.
Ahmed, did a number of voters show up yesterday, even when we saw that voting did not open, that polls did not open? Did we see people show up yesterday? And then in equal measure, are we seeing them showing up this morning?
Well, yes. Yesterday, the thing was in Eldoret, the voting materials did not even leave the main tallying center. That is at Eldoret CDF Hall, because people surrounded the whole building, and the gunshots and everything you are seeing is because people are trying to burn the tires and even get into the that building because they were aggrieved. So, nonetheless, people were ready to vote, and finally, the number of men, the number of women, a huge number of women are voting. But then, in majority of the areas in the whole of Wajir County, voter turnout has not been so good. There's been low voter turnout, fairly 50% to 60%. There are some areas which has around roughly 70% to 75%. But then turnout has been not been so good, but then just fairly. The way IEBC predicted, the 60% to 70% mark. But then this morning, voting just started in Eldoret constituency, and so I think from here it will go on smoothly.
All right, but Ahmed will get in touch with you later on in the day to hear how this is progressing. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see whether the events of yesterday and the previous day will affect people's willingness to come out and queue and then vote. But of course, that we'll be able to tell just throughout the day, later on in the day. Asante sana for speaking to us.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks.
Ahmed Aiden is our correspondent in Wajir. He tells us that voting has started in Eldoret constituency, which was adjourned by the IEBC following some scuffle there. So even the voting material had not even left the constituency tallying center to be distributed. But now, polls have opened. We hope that the exercise proceeds smoothly. Where are you? What are you hearing? How was your experience yesterday as you went to vote? Did you experience long queues? Did you experience short queues? Did your biometrics get identified in the first go? Like first thumb, right thumb, weka, identified immediately. Was yours?
Immediately.
First?
In fact, quickly.
Right thumb or left thumb?
This is your left.
Right.
Okay.
I was just doing an inky pinky ponky. It was right.
So you just place your right thumb?
Pressed the red light, then it turned green.
And
then there was like a message. I was told I can remove it. Then the guy, there was, I think, something on the screen. You know the one where they indicate press?
Yes.
They pressed that one.
So he pressed.
Yes. And lo and behold, my picture appeared.
And it was you.
A much younger version of myself. Infinitely younger version. But I looked and said, oh, this is me.
Is that me?
This is really me. Yes.
Handsome, strapping young fella, this guy.
They told me, okay, Mzee, mzuri sana, you can move next. But you know the thing that I found amazing? Those, the ballot paper.
Yeah.
A lot of care went into this thing. Just the color coding was impressive. You even if you wanted to get lost, you couldn't. Because, as we mentioned yesterday, even the ballot boxes themselves had a cover that more or less directed you as to how to vote. Blue.
For this one.
Lilac.
For this one.
Ooh.
Yellow. White. There's another that looked brownish. Very good.
It's brownish.
Yes.
Where?
Some of these colors, you're not really sure what it is.
Okay.
Because I'm going to say brown, then Lou is going to tell me that's not brown.
This is coming from a man who said lilac.
Yes, I'll be told it's mauve, and I'm thinking mauve is which one now?
Okay. There was white, green, beige, yellow, purple, and blue.
Brown.
Brown,
beige.
Purple, ndio lilac. Okay. Okay. We'll be speaking to our correspondents as well on the ground. When I went, so I used my right thumb, and they told me, try the left one.
The right didn't
The
quite
right
work.
one just not good enough. Okay.
What have you been doing with the right thumb?
So try the left one. I was like, all right. And the left one worked. Hey, Jomi, you're probably sweating. You see, it was just 5 minutes to close of the polling station. So, of course, I walked in there in a rush thinking, really, nitaambia nini watu?
Yes.
Nilichelewa.
And you've had the whole day.
And what were you doing?
Nitaambia nini watu? So, of course, I got there. So, I put the left one, worked. I was given the MCA one. It was long. Half a meter long.
At my polling station, it was equally long.
What? The MP one as well for Mavoko constituency. Half a meter long. You enter that small booth and the thing is covering you. You're like, okay, so where is the guy I'm voting for? You're looking for the paper, you're trying to roll it.
Yeah.
Looking for your candidate. Where is my guy?
This is the thing that I'm saying. Look, we've had hiccups, but when you look at the complexity of some of these things, and that by and large they worked, you can't, because of, so even if there are 84 KIEMS kits that didn't work
in one constituency,
IEBC doesn't manufacture those things, okay? They just bought them, okay? Now, whatever the issues, we'll get to understand, but consider the rest of the country and how it is the things have worked.
1,881 elections.
Yes.
46,000 polling stations.
Yes.
Across the country.
Yes. With all the complications and all the complexities.
Yes.
Even the ones which they said, okay, Mombasa, Bado. Kakamega, Bado. They've told us 23rd. We have that election. As we look at the issues that have arisen, one must also heap praise on the things that have worked well.
Yeah.
Yes.
We must acknowledge.
Yes.
For sure.
We were speaking to some of the senior program manager actually at ILOG, and he was telling us that by 4 p.m., well, by early afternoon, let me just say by early afternoon, their observers across the country were reporting that things were working smoothly. So they were actually saying about 94% of the polling centers had opened by 7:30.
Yes.
94% by 7:30. They had opened, they were good to go.
Yes.
And I was like, this is actually impressive.
It is impressive.
In many instances, you'll find that, because of various things, it's flooding season, it's blah, 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 things have not opened. There are challenges with transportation, so polls have not opened. The fact that they've opened, by and large, across the country, on time, it's a good thing.
What are you saying, my friend? Even diaspora opened.
Even diaspora opened and closed.
And closed. And even some places where the diaspora doesn't vote, voted.
Okay.
Where?
Australia.
Someone was going on social media saying that, polls have closed in Australia.
Oh, God.
Where? Which?
Australia again. He must have been referring to industrial area. Yes.
Sounds the
industrial area.
Industrial Australia.
City, you're not all together there.
It worked.
Yes.
If it worked there, it worked everywhere else, right? But back to the issue of the KIEMS kits. All right. So, yes, if you look at 46,229 polling stations, each of them having a KIEMS kit, 46,229 KIEMS kits in operation yesterday, around 220 had issues. So 46,000 worked. Okay? And then those 200 that had issues were replaced because they're being used to transmit the results.
Yes.
That means 46,229 KIEMS kits worked either in voter identification or in results transmission.
Yeah.
Okay.
So not bad in terms of, performance.
Look,
right?
we will mention the things that went wrong.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is, if you're looking at... Remember we talked to this gentleman by the name of Bobby Wine. And I was listening to him very keenly. He couldn't help himself. He kept comparing the country he comes from and their electoral process and ours. The thing he marveled at is, are you guys really having an election?
How can you be having an election and the internet is on?
Yes.
And the lights are on. Electricity is still being serviced. How can you be having an election and nobody has been kidnapped? How can you be having an election and police are not arresting people at wanton abandon? What is this about?
Precisely.
Are you sure you're having an election in Kenya?
So even as we think about this, I'm going to extend this particular perspective to the point where when you consider the results, because this is the point where now we need to speak truth to the situation.
Right.
The results will be the results. If the IEBC are able to conduct these results as they have, let us trust them that they will transmit and they will actually declare what it is that was delivered to them, not what they made up.
I think one of the things also that comes up from what you said, Eric, is that, one could think that because you are in your polling station, that your polling station is the world and the world is your polling station. But we must remember that these elections are taking place simultaneously around the country.
Meaning one after the other.
Meaning at the same time. I told you that you're not together today, City. But what are we saying? Essentially, that all of this happening at the same time. So, look, there are hiccups here and there. I, for one, for the last 7 weeks, have said that the IEBC is setting itself up for, hanging in the village square because of some of the things that we're seeing in terms of process that has not worked in the manner in which it ought to. But for us to see on D-Day that things are working in the manner in which they're working, look, hats off to them, and to say, look, yes, there's technology hitches here and there, but by and large, it's been delivered. No?
Yep.
Yeah.
But of significance, and I must repeat this again, what IEBC is doing, they are relaying to you the results of the votes as they were cast in the various polling stations around the country. That's what they are doing.
Yeah, there's no magic here, really.
No. So when they tally it and tell you these are the results, if you trust them to have conducted this process, trust them that they're actually telling you what they have received.
Then trust the results.
Yeah, isn't there a level of trust also that's also applied by virtue of you showing up to the station?
And if you don't trust the results,
and casting
then
your
point
vote
to the point at which that mistrust has actually entered that particular arena and what it is that has caused the mistrust. Because mistrust will be there.
A big issue in this country is that mistrust. There's a total trust deficiency. In terms of, basically, somebody is entering a pitch to play a 90-minute game. They don't trust the clock. They don't trust the rules of the game. They don't trust their playmates. They don't trust the opponents. They don't trust the referee. They don't trust the manager, the owner of the club. And they are there. They say, I want to play.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what we do in this country. Yeah. Because from the very beginning, we are like, okay, so this IEBC, we don't trust this IEBC. But okay, they're running the election, but we don't trust. You see now the KIEMS kids are not working. Okay,
but we're still there at the 9th.
Okay, we are still voting.
I'm still looking up to them to tell us what's going on.
We must sit here to make sure that we are protecting our vote. Okay, so they're counting. No. This KIEMS kid must take a photo and send it to IEBC in Nairobi. No, we must see how it's sending this photo to Nairobi.
Yes, we must follow this message. We must follow this message. That you've received it, yes, but is it the message?
Now, the same person, tell us. You who we don't trust. Tell us now.
No, you are lying. Those are not the numbers that you received. How do we know those are the numbers that's the picture that you received from the KIEMS kids? But I'm telling you. No, we don't trust you.
So you work for IEBC?
You work for IEBC?
No, sorry. We have a problem with you, IEBC. And then, when they announce something that's favorable to you, IEBC works very well.
I must congratulate
IEBC. Look at how all of
they're
that.
Independent?
The flip.
And if they don't go according to your plan, yeah. But we've always said.
Then you start naming names.
Yes.
Like so-and-so. Yes. And then look at so-and-so. Did you know that so-and-so, surely, every time, it's like you require someone who doesn't live here to tell you, folks, even as you pitch a fit and as you complain and you point things out, please just remember that you have a good thing here. Issues must be there because to err is human, okay? But please don't tip this particular apple cart unnecessarily. You are not dealing with a situation that is necessarily bad. No. Understand that in an election there has to be a winner. It doesn't matter what you do or what you say. If you want to understand the difficulties, I have relatives in a country called Papua New Guinea. They've also been having their elections. And their drama is far more interesting than ours. Yeah. Because one of the things that happened is a former deputy prime minister passed away while the electioneering was taking place. Remember I mentioned to you that in that country, they had a system similar to ours, then they changed it. So instead of just voting for one person, you have three choices. You vote for that person as your first choice, as your second choice, or as a third choice. That's the presidential rule. They are prime ministers.
Yeah.
Okay? And even for MPs, members of parliament, they do the same. Now, It means if I go to a place where I know they have someone who they like, I'll say, vote for your son. By all means, give me your first vote.
Give me number 2.
Give me number 2, please. Now, when you have what we call a runoff here, we like referring to. Their runoff, it's not people, they don't go to elect again.
They just look at number 1.
Pass, okay, you are draw here. Let's look at number 2 now.
2.
Yes. And if it fails, 3. At some point, you'll find a winner. But when this...
so they do it like...
Like...
What was your first choice?
Yeah.
Of course, in college.
You've got it.
Okay.
Now, Deputy Prime Minister passes away. They have a timetable like ours. They decide, no, this is an important person. Since they've passed away, we need to sort of like give time, mourn a little bit. A week goes by. Now, that throws that timetable completely off whack. That's number 1. Number 2, same issue like the one we have, people have an issue with voting clerks. They're saying, no, this particular presiding officer we don't like, this one we don't want. Now, what do people do? They know full well that some of those places are remote. It's a mountainous place. Some of those places are fairly mountainous. So you have to fly in those things. Now, since they've determined they're not going to vote, the clever citizens have gone and put oil on the runway, so the plane can't land.
So those things that you're bringing to us,
you're not landing. We are making sure that vote is going to take place. It doesn't matter what you do. And you think we have problems.
Sabotage, my friend.
And the reason they don't want to vote is because they don't trust the
They are not happy with this
official.
thing, and since you're not listening to them, they're making sure.
Now we will make sure we don't vote until you listen to us.
And just so that you understand, those very runways, by the way, it is not uncommon to find somebody who's just walking across the runway, going wherever it is he's going on. He's got his
like a plane
livestock. The plane goes up again until the guy leaves. I mean, I'm trying to explain to you that every time you look at your country, please compare it with others.
I'm telling you.
Now, to understand a now really advanced system where they say they are democratic and they're free, they have an electoral system where the Mwananchi, which is us, vote. But because the Mwananchi sometimes can't be trusted, they have a collegiate vote. And that's the one which actually counts. So you can win by a margin of even 5 million.
But
this group comes in and votes. Man, you're out. So
this one of ours.
You get us a BRB.
Okay. It's 23 to 8. Let's take a quick break. Take a look at the weather and traffic. We want to hear from you as well on our social media handles, SpiceFM, KE, YouTube, and Facebook. How was your experience yesterday during voting? And what are you hearing so far from the same polling station that's now counting or from the tallying centers in your area? Me have said, I was given one long scroll and told this one contains the candidates for MCR in this ward of Athi River. I was given another one long. These are the MP candidates for Mavoko constituency. And I was like, good Lord.
But you knew who you wanted to vote for.
I knew the people.
Not to find the fellow.
I had 3 candidates, and then I knew the one that I was going to vote for. To look for that person.
Homework.
What?
On the scroll. Everybody here up there. Unatafuta.
Umeona. Bado.
And then your memory of that person isn't fairly represented by the picture you see. The name is there, but is this the person?
Is this the person?
Digger Classifieds is an all-in-one platform to find jobs, buy and sell motor vehicles or properties, to pay tributes to the special people in your life. www.digger.co.ke, the one address in Kenya that everyone loves to visit. Digger Classifieds.
We know it is cold, but Cold Stone Creamery has hot deals for you. This month, enjoy cups of rich and creamy ice cream, delicious ice cream cakes, and fresh oven-baked cakes at amazing prices. Visit any of our stores in Nairobi or Mombasa and indulge in your favorite treats. Cold Stone Creamery, the ultimate ice cream experience.
We're closer than ever to the 2022 general election, and now you can stay up to date wherever you are on the provincial results for the presidential, gubernatorial, senatorial, women rep, MP, and MCA seats. Just SMS the word Kura to 23278.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads. You're listening.
Nairobi will see highs of 23 and lows of 13. It's partly sunny at 15 in Nakuru. 24 will be the high and lows of 13. Light rain at 12 in Nyeri, highs of 20 and lows of 12. While we're looking into partly sunny conditions in Eldoret this morning at 14. We'll see highs of 22. 27 will be the high in a rainy Mombasa at 22. And we're looking at rain showers in Malindi as well, going to highs of 27. 20 degrees and sunny in Kisumu, highs of 28. And the sun is out as well in Kakamega, going to highs of 27. 17 degrees and sunny conditions in Kampala with highs of 27. And we'll see highs of 28 in a rainy Dar es Salaam, currently at 21. It's slightly warmer at 9 degrees in Johannesburg, highs of 22. And 30 will be the high in a clear Lagos, currently at 24. It's 21 and clear in Kinshasa. We'll see highs of 31 and lows of 21.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
You're listening to Spice FM.
Traffic will not be your problem this Wednesday morning, and we're looking at most parts of the city moving fairly freely. Jago Road, which normally is our benchmark for what is causing a lot of traffic in the city, is really looking good. It's going to be open-ended until you get out towards Landis, out towards Kamkunji, and then onto Haile Selassie. Folks have not yet returned to the city, and it's likely to be this way through today. Folks are still using the expressway coming out of Westlands. That seems to clog up just a little bit at your exits, but you should be all right. Waiheke Way is free and clear into the city. Not too much of an issue at all. Traffic hour has already begun in what would be a normal situation. But today, not too bad. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Talk to us about what's going on there. We want to keep things moving this Wednesday.
.5 Spice FM, Kisumu. Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings
What's happening around the country?
right.
That's what we want to find out.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
They're busy. They're reporting for all our platforms. They're reporting for KTN, for the Standard, for Radio Maisha, for Vibes, for Spice FM. Kila mutu. But we'll be getting in touch with them and hearing what's happening. Also calling persons of interest to get their take on what's happened overnight as the counting was taking place. Davidson Giboine is the man who was among the candidates for the seat for MCA in, what was that word again? Woodley Kenyatta
Golf Course Ward.
Okay. Did we get it, DNG?
Yes. Yes, I did.
How was the experience yesterday with the voting, and then what's happened overnight?
Yo, man. First and foremost, it's for me. It's been a journey. You know that. I was on your show, pushing my candidacy, talking about my manifesto, and it's been 14 months of interacting with my community, and me, I've done my campaign on foot. So going to different estates.
Well, you really couldn't have used the chopper in a ward, really, DNG.
I'm just saying, like that. That it's something very different, right? Interacting with people one-on-one, understanding their challenges, understanding their aspirations and what they want to see done differently. And so yesterday, or if I can say yesterday into today, was the culmination of all that effort. So I would say, first and foremost, glory to God for fighting for me, for seeing me through, and and kudos to the team that I put together across the world, a team of mobilizers, a team of agents, a team of guys assisting me with logistics and all that, and for those who came out, because we've been campaigning against a very profound backdrop of voter apathy, where people are tired or have been very tired of being lied to and being sold to fake promises and propaganda and hate, So
what happened overnight, DNG? I think maybe before we even jump the gun, counting started and then the tallying happened.
Yes.
Has the election for MCA in this ward been declared by the IEBC?
Not officially, but how results happen is that there's a process, and the counting happens at the polling station. So what we have is the results from each of the 45 polling stations in Woodley Kenyatta Golf Course Ward. So quick maths, you'll be able to tell who's the winner and who's the loser. So. And who's number 2 and 3 and 4 like that. So all we're waiting for is an official process today, because what happens according to IBC is that all ballot boxes have to be ferried to the tallying center manually, physically, before the returning officer can issue what we call a results declaration form and say yes. Therefore, subsequently, the winner is so and so. But we know we have the numbers.
So, David, have you heard from anybody that you were, contesting against? Have you heard from anyone saying or sending you any messages, as is the case?
Not candidates, but they're mobilizers. In fact, some of their mobilizers have reached out saying golden, sending me what do you call it? The golden leap, so to speak, just to say, see what do we. And such kind of things, that we will work together and all those kind of things. I even had a call from somebody from a different party this morning. Because sometimes we are friends, but when we come to now party politics, we take sides. It's like being on one team against another team. You can have a friend in another media house, but hey, in the morning you are competing against each other, right, for the same ratings and the same share of listenership.
True.
So that's how politics is. But after that, you come together and celebrate one another. And even some of this one person who called me this morning is one of the people who was mobilizing youth against my mobilizers yesterday. That's the funny thing in politics, that your biggest adversaries are the first to come and shake your hand.
Right.
Okay. GNG, thank you very much and congratulations. Hoping that it all goes according to your plan, and we're wishing you all the best up to the point when the returning officer then announces the official results.
Thank you.
Asante sana. That's DNG, who was the UDA candidate for which ward again?
Woodley Kenyatta Golf Course Ward.
Yes, there you go. Let's cross over to Kisumu County, and our correspondent there is Brenda Radido. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, Eric. How are you guys?
Very well, Brenda. How are you?
I'm good. You sound so rested.
Well, how many hours of sleep have you had, I guess is the question, Brenda?
3 hours of sleep.
Well done.
3, that's
plenty. If you had 1 hour, then we'd sympathize.
but it's for worthwhile cost.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Brenda, what's been happening in Kisumu?
A lot has been happening. As of yesterday, there was a lot of celebrations. There was a lot of strikes. Voters, waking up as early as 3, vuvuzelas everywhere, hooting of motorcyclists by motorcycle operators.
Yep.
Just to try and wake up, to psych the voters. You need to wake up. Mkeni twendeni tupige kura. And that is not the order of the day today. Today it's a slow day, like it's calm, no noise, and the majority of the residents are just indoors. And I guess the reason as to why they're indoors, they're just waiting to see whether, their own people have won the presidential, senatorial, woman rep, and also member of parliament seat. But then Kisumu County has always been seen as an ODM stronghold. And we are waiting to see how ODM party is going to perform in terms of the presidential seat and in terms of the member of parliament seat and, of course, the senatorial and the gubernatorial. The reason as why I mentioned those seats specifically, and specifically the gubernatorial member of parliament and the woman rep, is because a lot of independent candidates have come out to eye that seat. And some of these independent candidates were strong political members of the ODM party. But then, Eric, let me take you guys through, the results that have just been streaming in very quickly.
Okay.
We are seeing the Form 34As for Kisumu County, 96% have so far been it's the percentage of the Form 34As that have been returned. This is equivalent to 1,133 of the 1,730 Form 34As. When I look at, let me just give you a breakdown of some of the results that have been streaming in. We're seeing Raila Odinga doing quite well when it comes to the presidential elections. So let me start with Latif, just a bit. Let me just start with the order of the Form 34As that I have.
Okay.
When it comes to the county woman member of the National Assembly. Here we have Raila Odinga's sister. That is Ruth Adhiambo Odinga, and she has garnered 185 votes. Then the closest rival is Omondi Rose Kisia, and then of course we have Otieno Valentine Anyango. Initially during campaign, Otieno Valentine Anyango seems to be the closest rival of Ruth Odinga. So in some other tallying centers, we are seeing Valentine has performed well, but then in some other polling centers, we are seeing like Valentine has not performed well. Now let me give you the presidential election results. This is for municipal polling center. We are seeing Raila Odinga has garnered 494 votes. And then Ruto is following right there, not performing very well with about 25 votes. Clearly, Eric, you guys can see Raila Odinga is making a good lead when it comes to his own county. The results that I want to give you is for the National Assembly. Now, National Assembly, we have Fred Ouda Odhiambo, then we have Victor Owon, we have, I'm just trying to get the figures correctly, we have Shabil Shakir. Remember, Shabil Shakir was once an ODM member, a stronghold ODM member, left, and then now vying as an independent candidate. Then came Oron, who is now an ODM member, and Oron is actually leading with 196 votes, and then Shakil Shabir with 87 votes. And this is actually
from one polling station.
This is from one polling station, for the municipal polling station. And the most interesting about this seat, Eric, is that it is a replay of 2013-2017. Both these political leaders vied. And Oron lost in 2013, Oron lost in 2013, Oron lost in 2017. But then now, he's made a strong comeback. But then this is just in some of the polling stations that this is it's a result out of one of the polling stations. So we're just waiting to see, Eric, how these numbers are going to play out for ODM. And I think this is also a message that the independent candidates and some of the small parties that are coming up within the Nyanza region, there's a message they're trying to send to the ODM party that as much as it didn't go well during the nominations, have come back as an independent candidate. As much as the ODM party is is one of the strongest parties in the Luo Nyanza region, these are the other parties that are coming up. And one of the parties that is strongly coming up, what we are seeing from these results that we have been, that have been trickling in as of yesterday night, David Ochieng's party, and remember David Ochieng was a member of the ODM party. So David Ochieng, the Uganda member of parliament, his political party is the MDG. And MDG has actually fielded about 108 candidates across the country. But the Luo Nyanza region has the highest number of candidates when it comes to his political party. Eric, yesterday was talking about, business being not really shut down, but business being closed for hours from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. That was not a directive from the Kisumu County government that, as from Monday night, no entertainment joints are supposed to be open. And then from Tuesday, that is yesterday, the 9th of August, this is not supposed to be open from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. so that users can be allowed to go and vote. So we expected the business premises to be open, but sadly, Eric, even getting a snack was a problem. Because even after casting the vote, they decided we are not opening shops. The shops have been open. Yeah.
Have they opened now?
Yes. Now they've opened.
Okay.
Now they've opened. So, if you didn't grab a snack where you're sleeping at the hotel, you couldn't get a supermarket open. Even sadly, we see some of the pharmacies didn't open, so we were like, so how do we survive here? And we had now to be strong and move on and do the
find
work.
ways of doing things. Brenda, we'll get in touch with you again later in the morning to hear whether you've gotten some more results, especially now for the other seats. The gubernatorial race is one to watch as well as the senatorial one. And so we'll be getting in touch with you. Asante sana for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Brenda Radido, our correspondent in Kisumu. Let's cross over to Siaya. Abi Agina is there. Good morning, Abi.
Good morning, Eric. Slow start here in Siaya, but it was a peaceful night.
Peaceful in at all the polling stations that are now counting?
Yes, we didn't experience any incidences of violence, and it was more of a very orderly manner in terms of how the vote counting was done. But so far, Eric, from this region, we've been able to get some numbers from Alego, Usonga. We are still looking forward to getting the numbers from the other constituencies. That includes Rarieda, Ugunja, Ugenya, Bondo, as well as when you look at this region, it has those 6 constituencies which have a big number of votes that we shall be monitoring. This includes close to about 500,000 votes from this region, that is Siaya County. The other constituency I forgot to mention is Gem. But in Alego Songa, so far the presidential tally puts Raila Odinga at a 97% lead against his rival, that is William Ruto. And for the gubernatorial seat, the contest is very, very close, Latif. That is between Oburu Oginga, that is between James Orengo and Engineer Larry Gumbo, who are going for that seat. Nicholas Gumbo, I beg your pardon. And for that position, we are seeing Oburu already taking an early lead. Of course, Oburu, a former member of parliament for Bondo and one of the oldest serving legislators in Kenya, is making a comeback and going to be perhaps the next senator for Siaya County. And for the parliamentary results, Latif, for Alego Usonga, we are seeing Tandi taking also a very commanding lead so far. And that's just a quick overview of what we've been able to gather, Latif.
Thank you very much, Abi. We will be coming back to you later on in the show so we can get the latest, especially for those closely contested races in parliamentary and the gubernatorial one, that one between the Senator James Orengo and Engineer Gumbo as well.
Many thanks indeed. It's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yes.
Now that Senator Orengo will be perhaps the next governor of Siaya. Of course, Nicholas Gumbo had put up a very spirited campaign. It will be interesting to watch who will take the day.
Who will take it? We'll touch base with you. Thank you very much, Abi Agina. Keep it here for more as we reach out to all our correspondents across the country, telling us what's happening. That was Abi Agina in Siaya telling us what's happening there. And Brenda Radido, who's in Kisumu, will be going to various other parts, Makueni, into Wajir, into the North Rift, into the coast, into Mount Kenya region. Good morning, 8 a.m.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Kenyans continue to eagerly wait for the results of the elections, with the results trickling in from constituencies across the country. We continue to bring you this comprehensive coverage of the 2022 general elections, even as we continue to gather more information and data as votes continue to be counted across the country. Now, voting in Eldoret constituency is kicked off after it was suspended yesterday due to insecurity. Residents will today have the opportunity to exercise their democratic right as enshrined in the constitution. Security has been beefed up in the area to ensure residents vote without any incidences. Now, about 50 polling stations in Mvita constituency, Mombasa County, have submitted ballot boxes to Aldina Vistrom Resort Tallying Center. Returning officer Sudi Masha says the area has a total of 203 polling centers. The delay in the delivery of voting materials in Mvita was caused by delay in voting exercise yesterday. Now, police are on the hunt of Kimilili MP Didmas Baraza, who went into hiding after shooting dead his competitor's bodyguard. Bungoma County Commissioner Samuel Kimiti wants Baraza to surrender to the police and similarly surrender his gun.
Honorable Didmas was alleged to have shot a person after they disagreed in one of the polling centers. It is alleged that Didmas pulled his gun and shot this fella, and as he was being rushed to the hospital, he unfortunately died. We have ordered the police to hunt for the MP because after he did that, he just disappeared, and the police are now pursuing him, but we are telling him to come and surrender himself before we get the hold of him. It was very unfortunate, and I want to pass my condolences to the family of the late Bryant. This young man died not because of his own fault, but because of mistake of a leader who is alleged to have caused that death.
It is alleged that Baraza pulled out a pistol and shot Haimba's bodyguard Brian Olunga in the face, causing him to bleed profusely. He died at the Kimilili Sub-County Hospital while being treated. This incident has been condemned by DAP Kenya Party, led by Eugene Omala, asking the police to ensure that Baraza is arrested.
We were very saddened to hear of a report of a shootout at Chebukwavi Primary School involving the Honorable Didmas Baraza, who were told aimed his gun at our candidate, Brian Haemba, shot at his vehicle. Unfortunately, he fatally injured Brian's bodyguard, and we have learned, sadly, that doctors were unable to save his life, and he has passed on. We are here to demand that Didmas Baraza be arrested.
The whereabouts of Didmas Baraza remain unknown. A voting exercise in 12 voting centers in Kakamega County ended last night after voting exercise started late. The counting of votes started past midnight, with IEBC officers in the area asking residents to expect the results this morning. Several areas in Kakamega suffered from KIEMS kits machine malfunctions. The areas are Malava, Mumias East, Mumias West and Matungu, where voters were allowed to use the manual register, and the voting time was extended to enable Kenyans exercise their right to vote. Fatherfield and top Republican leaders flung their support behind former U.S. President Donald Trump after an extraordinary FBI raid on his palatial Florida residence sparked a political firestorm in an already bitterly divided country. The FBI moved back a stunning escalation of legal probes into the 45th president and comes as he is weighing another White House run. Several former advisors to the 76-year-old Donald Trump urged him to immediately confirm that he would be a presidential candidate in 2024. Trump is being investigated for allegedly being behind the attacks on Capitol Hill. I'm Dennis Aseto. Good morning.
You're good. Not too much of an issue around Nairobi. We're looking at a little bit here and there on the expressway, on the exit specifically, right around Imaradaima and then coming out of Westlands. Uhuru Highway looks pretty good. You have traffic going in and out of the city. Jogo Road, then getting to the mouth of that City Stadium roundabout junction. Is where you see some traffic today, and now is when we're seeing some heightened activity in the CBD. Looks like folks are creeping back in, but nothing at all really out of the whack. Coming off Thika Superhighway, it is very clear, and Kiambu Road hasn't seen this much non-traffic situation in a long time. All right, we'll keep an eye on things through the morning. Let us know. It's just a few minutes after 8 o'clock. Things might change, and if they do, let us know. SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latif, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The third of Kenya's biggest conversation, the Situation Room. We're here. We've been here since 6 a.m. We are tracking the numbers as they come in to the Standard Group Center from across the country. What's happening, what's not happening. We're speaking to our reporters from across the various regions. Let's begin the hour with the day's proverb, CT. Right.
A coward sweats in water.
A coward sweats in water. This is a proverb from
Gabon. You can it all you like. It's Gabon.
A coward sweats in water.
Only a coward sweats in water.
Okay. Trying to decipher this particular one. Just trying to understand, okay, so what exactly are we saying? What are we talking about, right? What do we mean? Yeah. So far, the IEBC is saying that 91% of Forms 34A have been reported and transmitted to the IEBC. Remember what's happening in this entire process. So, Form 34A is the result at the polling station. All the polling station votes are then taken to, the results rather, are taken to the constituency tallying center. Mm-hmm. And once the returning officer at the constituency level receives them, and this is the presidential result, puts them all together into then what would be the total constituency result. Fills out Form 34B. This is transmitted to the National Tallying Center at Bomas and also transmitted to the County Tallying Center. At the county level, the county returning officer receives all the Forms 34B from the various constituencies and tallies the numbers, puts the total, and inserts the total in a new form called Form 34C. This is also then transmitted to where? The thing called Bomas.
The National Tallying
Why
Center.
are they important? The final result is the result that was announced at the tallying center, at the polling station.
So essentially, nothing will change.
Nothing
can
is changing.
change between the constituency and
Between
the national
between the polling station, the stream that you walked into yesterday to vote, the result that was declared there is the final result.
And that is what will also be announced at the National Tallying Center.
Yes. All they're doing is now just tallying them. It's important to tally because the presidential election takes place across the 290 constituencies. That's the law. And we also know that for one to be declared winner of this election, they must meet several things. There are several thresholds. Threshold number one is get at least 25% in the majority of the counties across the country. So that is 25% in, what is the majority of 47?
First
24.
of all, divide 47 by 2. Okay? It gives you
23 and a half.
Precisely. So if you 24
becomes majority,
you're done.
You're done.
So you must get 25% in 24 counties. For you to know that you've gotten 25% in 24 counties, that's where the Form 34C comes in.
Of votes cast.
Of votes counted.
Yes, counted. Okay.
Not cast. Those that are cast, when they are counted, there are some that will be valid, and there are those that will be rejected, and there are those, all those things. So it's a valid votes counted. So Form 34C is important for that. And then we also need to know, okay, so does this person then enjoy support from across the country? And we determine that by seeing whether they've scored 50% plus 1 vote. If they get to 50% and then 1 vote, bas, and they got the other one, Tosha, Chebukati can then say, I have looked at the results that have come, I have tallied, I have verified, and this is what's going to happen. Chebukati has said, I am waiting for the physical forms to get to me. So all the returning officers from the constituencies are now going to be moving to Nairobi to Bomas of Kenya to hand Chebukati personally that form.
Physically.
Yes. The 34 is from their constituency and the 34B.
Eric, what happens? I'm just thinking, what happens if you actually get the 24, the 25
percent in the 24?
Yes, you get that one. But when it comes to 50 plus 1, you don't get it. What then happens? Or again, you
the
get
one
the 50
who gets
plus
the 50
1.
plus 1 is the one who gets.
Okay, because I was going to ask, if you don't get the 50 plus 1, and then the other way around. So 50 plus 1 takes the day.
Okay, so here's the thing. So 50 plus 1 is the number 1 threshold. Then the number 2 threshold is that majority of the counties. So because you're likely to have more than one candidate getting more than 25% in the majority of the counties, but you're not likely to get more than one candidate getting 50% plus 1. Arithmetically, it's impossible.
No, it's not possible.
Okay, so the 50% plus 1 is the first one. Get, okay, umepata, wacha tuone. If you didn't get 25%,
then even your 50 plus 1 doesn't.
Your 50 plus 1 doesn't help you.
Doesn't help you?
So what happens in that case?
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking. So what happens?
There's no winner.
There's no winner.
Yes.
What we have now is what is called a runoff.
It's very possible for the top 2, to not have gotten the 50 plus 1. So
that is also possible. Yes, but
all these questions that we are asking, so we ask an IEBC commissioner.
Voila.
That is the best thing to do.
Irene Masit joins us, IEBC commissioner. She's on the line. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you? Whom am I speaking to?
This is Eric Latif, CT Muga, and Nduoko on SpiceFM. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning to you. How are you?
Very well, thank you, and thank you very much for speaking to us. We are, of course, now tracking the numbers, seeing what's happening across the country, and waiting for updates from Bomas of Kenya, where you and your fellow commissioners, plus the chairman, will be addressing the country throughout until you have the final announcement. Let's just begin with just getting clarity on what was announced by the IEBC commissioner yesterday, just for everybody to be sure that they understand. The Form 34A, 34B, 34C, up to the point when the chairman, who is the national returning officer, declares the presidential result winner. Take us through that process from 34A to the winner.
Yes, thank you very much, Lucky. Yes, I want to say at the polling station, I want to take you at the polling station. There are different types of forms.
Yes.
For presidential, we have 34A. For member of parliament, we have 35A. For MCA, we have 36A. And then for governor, we have 37A. Senator, we have 35A. And then for women, we have 39A at the polling station.
So
now,
Senator is 38A.
Then it now as a B.
Sorry, Commissioner. Senator is 38A.
Yes,
And woman rep 39A.
39A. That is at a polling station.
Okay.
When you move to the constituency tallying center,
Yep.
all those now turn to Bs,
Yep.
where there is collation. So for president, it will be collated to 34B. Likewise, the others, the way it is, it was A, no, all of them now become
B.
A. Become B, sorry. Once they are Bs, at the constituency, MPs, now they'll be collated and results announced
Yep.
using from 30,
4B.
for MPs and
35B.
MPs. Yes, they use that one and they announce at the constituency tallying center. Then for governor, senator, and women rep now are taken to county for final announcement. Using 30, that is now 37, 8, and 9.
C.
C, and then certificate is issued at D for certificate.
Okay.
Then when you come to president now, we can focus now on president.
Yeah.
President after constituency tallying center. They announce what the president has gotten there, each candidate, and they announce for all positions there. It's only that MP and MCA are announced at the constituency tallying center as final. Now, after they announce for the president, we now do the online, which started at the polling station. From that point, president already started. It's only president which is transmitted. So already you've seen from the polling station, we'll still have from constituency tallying center, but the Form 34A for the polling station will be brought physically to Bomas of Kenya. So when you don't see us around there at the auditorium, we are doing background work for ensuring that the other images come first, which are being finalized. And then immediately returning officers at the constituency tallying center finish. The deputy returning officer at the constituency takes the other results to county. The county returning officer to announce, and then constituency returning officer now brings the physical Form 34A to Bomas for verification, quality check before announcement by the returning officer with the chairman.
So the returning officer from the constituency must come physically to Bomas.
Must come physically.
Accompanied
That
by
form-
the Form 34B.
Has been signed by everybody else, and what was given to agents, media, and people who are at the polling center. Yes.
Okay.
So we'll only announce once we get that physical form from each and polling station.
And the law gives you a window of 7 days.
It does. It
from,
does.
from
7
polling
days.
day.
To announce the results. And hopefully, we will be able to announce by Friday, Saturday, depending on how fast those forms arrive.
Commissioner, we saw yesterday, even as the polls opened and then through the day, that the voter turnout was low. We're looking at, quite a number of things now that, maybe the lowest, turnout in a number of years. Is that worrying to the commission? And does it then really not matter in terms of the processes that have to take place through the next few days, tallying and announcing and such? Does the number weigh in terms of, does the number weigh in any way? Do these numbers that we are seeing weigh in any way on the process?
Yes, I want to say it's worrying because if you remember when we were doing voter registration, the youth turnout was low. But still, the forms we are receiving online, there are those results which have not been collected. The ones, you remember, there are some places where people have to use physical register. Remember?
Yes.
The ones we are getting now are the ones which are in the KIEMS kit, which calculate automatically. But there are those which, you remember, there are places where people could not be able to vote using the KIEMS kit.
Yeah.
So those results have not yet been projected. because now they have to go that physical register, verify. Yes, but we believe it might go up to 15 million or fully, but I cannot say for sure for now. But I know it was surpassed a bit 12 million going to that figure. We'll be able to tell when everything else has been finalized being tallied. But for now, those are just projections.
Okay. There's also a mathematics question, a bit of arithmetic here that we were trying to, grapple with before we spoke to you. And that is, so there's a requirement of the 50 plus 1. There's also the requirement of the majority in the different...
25% majority.
25% majority in the counties. So what happens between your two candidates, or if somebody then does not achieve the 50 plus 1%, and then also does not achieve the 25% majority with the votes that have been counted? What happens where you have an impasse in terms of one who would be declared winner?
Or that's one scenario, Commissioner. That's one scenario. What if somebody does get the 50 plus 1%, but does not get the 25%
majority.
The majority of the counties?
Thank you very much for that question. I want to say, as you rightly put it, there are two scenarios. One, to carry the day, you have to get at least majority of the 47 counties. That is now 24 counties. And 50 plus 1. 50 plus 1 is calculated based on the total vote cast, not total registered voters.
Yes.
Calculated based on the total vote cast. Assuming none of the two competing candidates gets, or any of the candidates gets those requirements, it means there'll be a runoff.
Okay.
That runoff will be within 30 days. And whoever emerges now with the highest votes, that is what we call simple majority. Whoever gets the highest now carries the day. That is one scenario.
So, Commissioner,
another scenario,
please go ahead, scenario. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Another scenario, assuming what happened in 2017, whereby the votes were nullified. So it means another election has to be done within 60 days after nullification. So it means we have to prepare for another
presidential election.
That is, if someone files a petition to challenge election, and that the filing of the challenging of that election must be done within 7 days after announcement of the results. You are getting me?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Let me ask another scenario here. Is there any scenario that would see us getting to the 7 days after yesterday where the IEBC chairman does not declare a winner?
Now, what happens is, first, it depends on how those results come from the ground, the way I told you. And then also it depends because now, of course, if one doesn't meet those requirements, because we are working within the law.
Yep.
So the chairman cannot create other scenarios outside the law. He has to abide by the law because he cannot create a scenario on his own because he has factors guiding him on how to go about it. Yes.
Commissioner, let's talk about these KIEMS kits that did not function yesterday, particularly the ones in Makueni, because there were very many, 84 in just Kibwezi West constituency. What happened? What could have happened?
Actually, what happened, it was not, this KIEMS kits person, they have inbuilt batteries in them. And also, they have power backup. And we had also backup kits. As we've always been telling you, we've been having backup kits 6 per ward.
Yep.
Now, the law again is very clear how to identify and register one.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives that scenario that you use the KIEMS kit to identify one.
Mm-hmm.
And one has to source all the 10 fingers. And where one doesn't succeed, one is supposed to use the ID. That's the alphanumeric now, either the ID or the
passport.
Or the passport.
Mm-hmm.
And where one fails now, that's when now you opt for the register. So I believe where the register was used, all those options must have been exhausted before resorting to the kit.
Mm.
Yes. So the other options must have failed. That's why they resorted to manual register.
And what is it that would make this because we're actually talking about 11 options here. You're talking about trying 10 fingers, all of them fail, then inputting the ID number, that also fails. That's 11 attempts at using identification through the KIEMS kit.
Yes.
What's the scenario is it that would make it fail so monumentously?
There are scenarios whereby voters, some forget which document they used to register.
Okay.
Some could have used the passport and they are now using the ID. Some failed to verify their details. Remember, we had a verification period whereby one was to send his ID or passport number, stroke date of birth to 70,000. And we had even a website and link and everything.
Yep.
So some failed to verify. So their details were not revised adequately. So we had audit reports. Remember?
Yes.
That audit report, you find that at times somebody was registered not using the biometric before.
Mm-hmm.
But now, when we went to biometric, some of the voters didn't go to change their voting from manual to CPR registration.
Okay.
So there are quite a number of issues which I believe immediately we finish this election successfully, we'll do a post-election evaluation to understand what happened and rectify for future so that we ensure that we have a better voting. But remember, out of 46,229 kits which went down there, only 200 failed. So if you look at the percentage, it's not very huge. And it's something which we can improve on and manage next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commissioner Irene Masit, thank you very much for speaking to us. We hope to be able to be getting in touch with you even as this as it progresses before we even get to Friday and Saturday for the final announcement.
You are welcome anytime, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to Kenyans.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Asante.
That's Commissioner Irene Masit of the IEBC speaking to us, telling us about, just clarifying the process of getting the result from the polling station all the way to the IEBC National Tallying Center to the point where the presidential winner is declared, and then going backwards all the way to how the county governor, senator, woman rep is declared winner, how the result is also announced at the constituency level for MP and MCA. This is what is happening now, and we have all our correspondents across the country. We have them monitoring the constituency levels, especially the returning officers, so that when the returning officer then receives all these forms 34A, 35A, 36A, 37A, 38A, 39A from the polling stations, and they start tallying them, and they start announcing the results, our people on the ground will be there and they'll be telling us this is the result that has been announced by the returning officer at X constituency. 29 minutes after 8, we are live on SpiceFM, on KTN Home, online, YouTube and Facebook, and we are tracking the results as they come in. Something big is happening across the world today from what time? 3 p.m.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. 4 p.m. Kenyan time.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're looking at Galaxy Unpacked, and that is what is happening. The global launch of the Galaxy Z Flip 4 and the Galaxy Fold Flip 4. Looking at what the bleeding cutting edge of technology has to offer. And at 4 p.m. today, the 10th of August, there will be the global launch of this. And Samsung is saying, join us as this happens. The very bleeding edge of mobile technology in these two handsets, global leaders of foldable technology and smartphones, which give users access to the very best smartphone technology and features in a much smaller and comfortable form fold. So you can watch the global Samsung launch Unpacked stream live on KTN Home at 4 p.m. or online at samsung.com, the official Samsung YouTube channel, and use the hashtag Galaxy Unpacked to join the conversation.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
To be Kenyan is to embrace diversity. The many faces and colors of our nation are what makes Kenya, Kenya.
Election bila noma, penda jirani. This message is brought to you by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, in partnership with the Standard Group.
On the 10th of August, Samsung is taking a giant step forward in the technological race by unpacking the amazing Samsung Z Flip 4 and the Samsung Z Fold 4. Join me, Edward Quach, on the Spice Drive from 3 p.m. this week to learn more about the big launch as we look back at the advancements in mobile phone technology.
London Mulo and DJ Absolute. When the gang is together, you know it's
Sugar and Spice.
Great vibes, conversations, a lot of humor. I like to say we don't give an F, we give 3 Fs.
You and I are in this relationship, so it is me to tell you who we are.
When you ask a chick, how many guys have you been with? She's like, including you. If it's fun, it's funky, it's fresh, you're definitely going to catch it here. I don't know what you do every day from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock. If I were you, I'd tune in to SpiceFM 94.4.
I want you on my team.
So does everybody else.
Yeah. Cloudy conditions at 15 in Nairobi, highs of 23 and lows of 14. It's mostly sunny at 16 in Nakuru, highs of 24 and lows of 13. It's coming down in rain in Nyeri, highs of 20 and lows of 13. And the sun is up in Eldoret, 15 degrees. We'll see highs of 22 and lows of 12. The rain continues in Mombasa at 22. We'll see highs of 27. 27 will also be the high in a rainy Malindi at 23. Mostly cloudy conditions at 22 in Kisumu, and we'll see highs of 27 in Kakamega, currently at 22. It's 19 and sunny in Kampala, highs of 27. 28 will be the high in a rainy Dar es Salaam at 23. It's 10 degrees and sunny in Johannesburg, highs of 22 and lows of 9, and 23 and mostly clear in Lagos. We'll see highs of 30. 31 will be the high in a sunny Kinshasa, currently at 20. All right, not much in terms of traffic. We're still looking at the smooth flow of most streets today. Should not be an issue through the morning. Traffic hour is almost coming to a close, which it really didn't start, if we're to be honest. Coming off the Thika Superhighway looks pretty good, as it does coming out of Westlands. If we're looking at Outer Ring, that's not an issue at all. Mombasa Road traffic, stopped many weeks ago. But today, I think you'll be all right getting in and out of the city, and also looking at other parts of the country where traffic is not really an issue, as everybody waits with bated breath. Talk to us, SpiceFM KE on Twitter. Let's keep things moving, whichever way we can.
Spice up your life.
It's 26 minutes to 9. The conversation continues. You can track the numbers as well as we are receiving them. Just go to standardmedia.co.ke/elections 2022. That's standardmedia.co.ke/elections 2022, where you get the results as we are receiving them from our people on the ground. What we are using basically is the received forms 34A from the polling stations, and what we have so far is numbers indicating 485,622 from the received polling stations, forms 34A. That's William Ruto, 485,622, representing 55.47%. Raila Odinga, 383,555, that's 43.81%. It's still coming in. Wajir George, 4,254, 0.49%. And David Wahiga Mwaure, 1,988, 0.23%. These are just the results that we are receiving from across the country from Forms 34A that have come to us as a Standard Group. You know, we have access to the various polling stations. We have access to the tallying center at the constituency level. We've got access to the county tallying center. And we're using all that to see what's happening on the ground. We have our correspondents everywhere, from the constituencies to the counties and at the National Tallying Center, Bomas of Kenya, where we cross over now. David Muthoka is our man on the ground. David, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, David. I assume that you've had a long day and a long night at the Bomas of Kenya.
Well, indeed, it's been, can we say a long day or a long night? Anyway, it's been a long day or night at the Bomas of Kenya where, as you mentioned, we have been tallying. It's been 12 hours into tallying since polls closed last evening. And so tallying is happening at three levels: at the constituency level, at the county level, and at the national level. And at the national level, right here at the Bomas of Kenya, we are having tallying precisely for the presidential election. And so you have been mentioning about Form 34As, and those are the forms bearing presidential election results from the over 46,000 polling stations that we have spread across the country. And so the only activity that has been taking place here at the Bomas of Kenya is the transmission of those Form 34As from the polling stations electronically right here to here at the National Tallying Center. And so we have seen the projection of those Form 34As on the IEBC portal, as well as the IEBC monitors that have been mounted at strategic points at this particular tallying center. Mm-hmm. And so as we speak, up to around over 43,000 Form 34As out of an anticipated 46,000 Form 34As have already been transmitted to this National Tallying Center. And so it is just a matter of when, not if, we are going to see all Form 34As being sent to the National Tallying Center and in phase one of the tallying for the presidential election. Because, of course, we have a phase two that is set to kick off at around 10 a.m. here with the arrival of the returning officers from the approximately 290 constituencies. They are supposed to come here, the returning officers, with the physical forms now, because of course they send them electronically scanned copies. And so they are supposed to bring them here so that the IEBC can verify whether they are the actual Form 34As. And once they determine it's a match, that is when now the IEBC chairman, Wafula Chebukati, who is the returning officer for the presidential election, can go ahead to tally and show the results for the presidential election according to the IEBC. But of course, as you mentioned, we also have the parallel tallying centers that have been doing this so far, and that's why you had the numbers, and we are seeing who is in the lead and who is trailing. But of course, here at the IEBC, we do not have that yet, because they have to match and verify the two different, or rather the two copies, the electronic one and the physical one, and so that they can then authoritatively declare who, so candidate X, candidate Y is in the lead, and this candidate Y is trailing. So
David,
that is how it is right here at the moment.
So what is IEBC projecting on the wall? There are giant screens in the Bomas of Kenya auditorium. What are they showing on those screens?
So what they are exactly showing is the number of Form 34As from the polling stations that have already been sent to the IEBC portal. And so there are slightly over 43,000 Form 34As that we can say have already been, their scanned copies have already been uploaded to the IEBC portal. And so that is what they are showing.
So that's
right
all
now.
they're showing, 43,333 of 46,229. They are not giving the details of each of those forms.
Exactly. So they are basically showing the number that have come, the number that are yet to come, and the percentage exactly of the Form 34As that they have their electronic copies.
Are they giving details of where it is those forms are from, or are they just giving the numbers?
They are basically giving the numbers, but of course we have pestered them to give us the details of where these particular forms have come from. Because understandably, we can just say we know there's one constituency where they have not come from. That is Eldoret constituency in Wajir, where they are said to have their elections today. Remember, yesterday we had a security crisis there, and so they had to postpone the election there. And so the number of polling stations that are set to send their Form 34As from that region are likely to do so later in the day. But from the over 43,000 that they have sent, they haven't told us where they are from, but we're trying to push to be able to know which regions exactly can we say have already, the returning officers
The ones
from
that
these
have sent.
constituencies have already, absolutely.
Actually, David, they're doing that on their portal, forms.iebc.or.ke, which is open to the public. That's forms.iebc.or.ke. When they say, for example, right now they are reporting 43,333 Forms 34A that have been received, representing 93.74%. Then they go into showing per county how many they've received. Baringo, they've received 988 out of a total of 1,031, Bomet 838 out of 855, and so on and so forth across each of those counties. But now then, we don't know from which constituencies in those counties. The granular detail is what's not shared at this particular level. David, we thank you very much for speaking to us and for shedding light on what's happening at Bomas of Kenya. Of course, we'll keep getting in touch with you throughout these days, up to the day when Wafula Chebukati does the job of announcing the final result.
Thank you so much. Indeed, up to that point when we have a winner.
Asante.
Thanks, David.
David Mudoka, our man at the Bomas National Tallying Center. Let's cross over to Kirinyaga. Timothy Karaoke is our correspondent in Kirinyaga County. Timothy, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Thank you very much for speaking to us again today. Timothy, how was the night in terms of the counting of the votes and the tallying of the same in Kirinyaga?
Yeah, it's a very cold morning here in Kirinyaga. Most of us spent the night here at Kaideri Polytechnic polling station in Kirogoya, that is in Kirinyaga Central. Well, vote counting is still going on. We started with the presidential vote, the MP, then the MCA, the woman rep, the senator, and now they are completing counting the gubernatorial votes. We must say that Kirinyaga is a contest now. Is shaping up between two women, between UDA candidate Anne Mombi Waiguru and independent candidate Purity Wangoi Ngirishi. At Kaideri Polytechnic, where I am right now, the center has 6 streams, and the two candidates, Ngirishi and Waiguru, are going neck to neck. Ngirishi is so far leading in 3 polling stations, the 3 streams at the polling station, while Waiguru is leading in 2. Right now they are counting the last stream, but it's a neck to neck because in one of the stations, Ngirishi is leading with 181 votes. While Waiguru is trailing her with only a difference of 2 votes with 179 votes. In another polling station, Waiguru is leading with 191, while Ngereshe is following her closely with 188. The gubernatorial contest had 8 contestants, 6 of which were men and the 2 women. The Jubilee candidate is coming a very big distance that because in one of the polling stations which he has scored the highest is 30 votes at Kaitheri Polytechnic. The Jubilee candidate is the current Senator Charles Rubenson Kebiro. So we'll be going around because there is little activity at the constituency and the county tallying centers because
so everything is still happening at the polling station. But just take us through this, Timothy. So polls closed, let's say at 6 p.m. or thereabout across Kirinyaga County, right?
Yes.
And we are still counting the ballots up to now. So what did they start counting? Did they start counting the presidential and then into MP? What has been the order of counting?
The order of counting, most of the polling stations here closed at around 6 because when the 5 p.m. closure time was announced, there were still people on the queue, so they could not be locked out. So immediately after that, counting started with the presidential vote. Then they proceeded in the order of which the ballot papers had been given at the station. You recall that the first ballot was the presidential, then the National Assembly, the County Assembly, the Woman Representative, Senator, and then the Governor. So that order was still followed even during counting of the votes. So that is why most of the polling stations are now finishing with the gubernatorial, having spent the whole night counting from the presidential, National Assembly, County Assembly, Woman Representative, Senator, and now the Governor. So most of the polling stations in the far areas of Moya constituency. You remember Kirinyaga has 4 constituencies. That is Kirinyaga Central, Gishogo, Ndia, and the expansive Moya. They are still counting the woman representative because of Moya has the highest number of registered voters at 160. So they are still counting the areas where they have not even begun counting the gubernatorial votes. So we are seeing a derail, and we might spend there another night still at the polling stations and the tallying centers. Yeah.
We've seen, just looking at these numbers that are coming in, of course, there are different sides, different camps who are already claiming their victory. Does this do anything in terms of now what you're feeling on the ground? What's the pulse from people, even as we hear some of these celebrations in different parts? Knowing and also basing on what you've just said, that it's likely that we could go into another day and another night of tallying these numbers, but we're seeing that some are already claiming victory.
Yeah, supporters of the 2 leading candidates, that is Ngereshe and Waiguru, are camping outside the gates of the various polling stations. Social media is abuzz with supporters of both candidates claiming victory. And there's an issue of protecting the vote. So they are still around the polling stations, ensuring that their votes are not stolen.
Yeah.
There's that phrase that is being called Linda Kura. So they're still roaming around the polling stations, both claiming victory. But it's still, I would say it's still too close to call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be getting in touch with you, Timothy, throughout. Of course, you're telling us you are projecting that you will still be there tomorrow, now and hopefully moving to the constituency tallying centers and the county tallying center. But thank you very much for this update this morning.
You're welcome.
Shall we go over to Kiambu now? And our man Chris Thairo is there. Good morning, Chris.
A very good morning to you.
How are you this morning? Been a long night, I'm sure.
It's been a long night, and yet again, it's a chilly morning here in Kiambu County. Currently, I'm in Kiambu town. To be specific, I'm at Kiambu High School, which is the tallying center for the Kiambu town constituency. Remember that the county tallying center will be at Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology. What I can tell you is that the process is slow for verification. Most of the agents, the IEBC officials, and the security personnel have just left their polling centers, and now they are just arriving at the tallying center. To be specific, here in Kiambu High School, where it will be the tallying center for the Kiambu constituency. But remember that Kiambu County has a total of 1.2 million registered voters, and going by yesterday's projections, although the voters started streaming into the voting areas late, by the morning there was a feel that there is a voter apathy, but when it got to 3 p.m., 4 p.m. thereabout, most voters came out to vote. And what happened is that by 5 p.m., most people had not voted, but they were still queuing. And now, going by the IEBC rules and guidelines, is that whoever is still on the line, they will be allowed to cast their ballot. And that, of course, brought the issue of delaying the counting process, because most of the polling areas, they were starting counting the process at around 9 p.m., 10 p.m., starting with the presidential ballot up to the governor. The governor ballot was the last to be counted. And so we expect that this process might even take longer. We might not get the official results, although there are those provisional results. For instance, going by the projections here in Kiambu County, we've seen that Karungu Watangwa, who is the senator candidate on a UDA ticket, is leading in most of the polling stations. And if the projections then go as they are, then he might be the next senator of Kiambu County. When it comes to the position of governor, we've seen that it's a neck-to-neck between the UDA candidate, Paul Wamatangi, and Wajangolo, who is an independent candidate, and the outgoing Thika Town Member of Parliament. And so we'll just have to wait and see how that turns out, because the rest, Jubilee candidate, that is the current and outgoing governor, Dr. James Nyoro, and the Tujibebe party candidate, the first governor of Kiambu County, William Kabogo, and then we have Moses Kuria. Actually, Moses Kuria, by yesterday, he had already conceded defeat, and so from his side, it's a done deal from him. When it comes to
tell us about that, Chris.
So
Moses Kuria posted something on social media, which was indicating that he is conceding defeat, but we know Moses Kuria. Have you spoken to him personally, and has he said this?
I've tried to look for him, but I've spoken to his PA, and what they're telling me is that they've already given up. What I'm yet to verify is whether that was authentic, but what I know is that his PAs have already indicated that it's a done deal for them. The projections as they come, it's not favoring them. And remember that it has been a tight competition here on the ground when it comes to the campaign. We saw they were really vibrant and coming out in large numbers to campaign for their preferred candidates. But the voters still have the final say. And so let's wait and see how it comes out. Remember that Kiambu County has a total of 12 constituencies, and it is the largest, starting all the way from Limuru all the way to Kilimambogo. And so when it comes to the county tallying center, they must receive all the forms from all the tallying center physically. And so it seems it might take longer before we get to know the official communication from the IEBC on who will be the next governor, who will be the next senator, and who will be the next women rep for Kiambu County.
And that's just the landing point, isn't it, Chris? Because we are saying, look, we can have all of this. Social media is awash with all of these things. There's proclamations, there's speculation back and forth. But until and unless we hear what the official thing is, then we cannot be conclusive in any of this.
Most definitely. I remember in 2013 and 2017 there was that trend. If one starts the lead, then he takes the head start until up to the end. When it comes to the provisional results, but this time round it's very different. You tend to find someone is leading this polling station. The other one is leading. Maybe the competitor is leading in another polling station. So when you tally, you find the difference is not that big, and so it is a neck to neck in most of these elective positions, and especially for that governor and for the women rep, and of course some parliamentary seats in Kiambu County.
Chris, thank you very much for this update. We will be getting in touch with you, if not today, even tomorrow morning. I'm sure you'll still be on the beat. And thank you very much for all the hard work that you're doing.
Thank you, most definitely. Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris Dairo is our correspondent in Kiambu County. He's covering what's happening there. Remember, it's a vast county, like he said. Counting started. Tallying is yet to commence at the various constituency tallying centres. Obviously, we're talking about Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology, where it's a county tallying centre. That will not take place until the constituencies are done with their bit.
Yep.
Why are you laughing, City?
I'm laughing because when you talk to our correspondents, you actually get a far clearer picture of what's really happening. And in many cases, what they're doing is they're pouring very cold water on what we're seeing on social media.
Indeed.
Because people went about their businesses and then took time off after they had finished their businesses to now go and vote. Yes. So remember the narrative of low voter turnout. Yes. Given the number of registered voters that we have, yes, we can understand. But as the stories emerge and we get granular and we get the details, I think we're going to be finding some very interesting statistics coming up. And by the way, it isn't, social media is awash with literally the entire country. And it isn't even UDA or Azimio. No, even local politics.
Yes.
Supporters of this particular party.
At the local level, everybody's declaring themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much, my people
exactly.
We spoke to one of them, DNG here, and he's already saying, hii kitu tumechukua bwana.
Yes. But also I get the impression that one of the things that perhaps political parties determined is that they would have a narrative that they communicate to their supporters. Because you will find it something that's happening. One could say it's spontaneous. One could say it's just the way people want to do their politics. But for the first time, we are seeing this, and it's happening throughout the country. And people are declaring. Now, if I look at the litigious way in which Kenyans like doing their thing, I'm saying that some people are actually positioning themselves for court matters well ahead and saying, it's called information and data gathering. Let us see how this thing pans out. Yes. The only problem with that narrative, if it's spread far and wide, it creates a sort of tension that can lead to clashes. That is a problem. Because some people will not query that information. They'll take it that this person has won. So when the information then comes in that the opposite has happened,
then there's tension.
They start wondering.
So what did you people do to our results?
Who interfered in our numbers?
It is conditioning to a certain extent because then that's what you want to believe. That if it's spreading like wildfire in the place which you're resident, and in this case a lot of social media outlets, etc., and then somebody comes and says the opposite, then you're likely to think, hold on a minute, it's not possible that all these things have been said, and then now what you're coming to do is counter the narrative. I'm not going to sit pretty.
It's a culmination of what's been happening even in the campaigns. People have been conducting their own polls and determining that they are an organization, yet it's one person deciding the polls and giving statistics. So depending on what you've been reading and what you've been interacting with, the stage was set for what we're now hearing. He says, according to the polls, we're leading, so we're now still leading. And then somebody else posts from the other party and they're saying the complete opposite of this. Anyway.
You can follow the results. Okay, if you go to the IEBC portal, which is forms.iebc.or.ke, you'll be able to know which forms 34A, 34B, and 34C have been submitted and transmitted to the National Tallying Center in the case of the presidential election. And then you'll be able to know, okay, so how many polling stations have finished counting and transmitted their Forms 34A? How many constituency tallying centers have finished tallying and transmitted their results to Bomas? How many county tallying centers have done that? They just give you the numbers. And if you want to get granular in terms of numbers and seeing what's happening on the ground, go to standardmedia.co.ke/2022 elections. Standardmedia.co.ke/2022 elections. You get the figures as we receive them as well from our people on the ground, from the various polling stations, and the results coming in. So far, showing Ruto 526,860, 56.24%, Raila 403,241 votes, 43.04%. See, very, 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 very small figures, small numbers. It's 9 a.m. Time for the news.
Spice up your life. The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Kenyans continue to eagerly wait for the results of the elections, with results trickling in from constituencies across the country. We are spread across the country gathering information, results and data from various election centers. Remember, this is the home of Kivumbi 2022 with everything about this election. But now we start from Siaya County, where our reporter Abi Agina brings up to speed with the latest from the lakeside.
From Siaya County, we are coming to you from Alego Usonga constituency. And right now we are at the constituency tallying center. This is at the Siaya Institute of Technology. At the moment, we continue to see various presiding officers bringing in the various materials from their polling stations, and amidst tight security here in Siaya County. So far, the numbers are continuing to stream in, and of course, this being Siaya County is an Azimio zone, and so far the numbers are looking quite in favor of presidential candidate Raila Odinga, who has so far garnered close to 98% of the votes cast in this region.
From Siaya County, we come back to Nairobi County, County 047, where our reporter Grace Nganga is stationed in Kasarani and now brings us up to speed with the latest.
Thank you. And currently things are a bit catching up as compared to last night in the wee hours of the morning. We can actually say that we are at least seeing some changes. We are at least seeing some activities. Some results have been announced. And with me here, I have at least two polling stations. Given the opportunity, this one is from Gumba City Council Dispensary Polling Station with at least 366 votes casted. Raila Odinga is leading with 197. Followed by William Ruto 161, Maura 7, and Wajakoya 1. If I could also do the same for maybe governor and give you the top two, we have Sakaja Johnson leading with 186, followed by Polycarp Igathe 176. It's quite a tight race here. And also, if I can also talk about the woman rep, we have Pasaris Muthoni 178, followed by Omanga 159.
From County 047 and the capital city, we go to the country's newest and youngest city, Nakuru County, where our reporter Dalmasi Kali has the latest from Nakuru County.
Good morning, and thank you so much. The process has been calm, but as reported from the other regions and the other counties and sub-county constituencies, the process is taking a bit too long here due to the fact that the various polling officials from the various polling stations are still reporting in, actually bringing in the ballot boxes and the ballot papers to be tabulated into Form 34B at this Moi Secondary School, that is the constituency tallying center for Nakuru Town West constituency. As per now, it's actually only around 25 out of 117 polling stations that have actually been filled in the Form 34B at this tallying center. On matters security is actually beefed up here with only journalists, party agents, and candidates, of course, with accreditation from IEBC being allowed in here. And of course, we'll actually be following across the day to actually follow the proceedings and give you the totals as to what will be happening at this tallying center that is at Moi Secondary School.
And in Kiambu County, our senior political affairs reporter Chris Tairu has the details with regards to the tallying exercise there.
It has been a long night for observers, the IEBC officials, the security and the media personnel, just trying to bring our viewers all the information that is on the ground. Currently, I'm at Kiambu High School. This is the tallying center for Kiambu Town constituency. Remember that Kiambu County has a total of 12 constituencies, and so this is one of the constituencies in Kiambu Town. The activities are still ongoing. What is happening right now is that the IEBC officials, accompanied by their agents, the agents of different political candidates, and of course the security personnel, they have just left their various polling stations after spending the whole night trying to count the votes. Remember that they started with the presidential votes going to the MCAs, the senator, the member of parliament, and of course the women rep, and finally the member of the county assembly. It has been a long night. Remember that in Kiambu County, we have at least a total of 1.2 million registered voters.
We continue to follow up on the latest. I'm Dennis Asada. Good morning.
Hasn't been an issue this morning. I think coming into the city, you'll be all right. Leaving the city, you'll be even better. In and outbound traffic is not doing a thing this morning, so that's good. Whatever was happening on the expressways at the exits coming out of Westlands and a little bit here on around Maradaima, that is not happening anymore. It's 9 o'clock and we're looking at traffic having not started even, before that, so we should be all right through the morning. Talk to us, SpiceFM KE on Twitter. We keep things moving, whatever the case may be.
This is the Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Oko, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert,
it's 7 minutes after 9. How are you doing?
Truth seeker and believer in people power.
Kenya's biggest conversation. It's the final hour of the show this morning. We've been here since 6 a.m. tracking the numbers as they come in from our people on the ground. We will be talking about the big thing that's going to be taking place today from 4 p.m. You said 4 p.m. East African time.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
From here in Nairobi.
Nairobi.
Okay. And it's global. Before we talk about that, today's proverb is from Gabon.
It is written Gabon. Gabon. So if you want to know about it, you just continue.
Keep knowing. You don't worry. If there's any comfort, the people of Gabon are called Gabonese, so you don't.
That don't make sense.
They're called what? Gabonese.
Not Gabonese. Gabonese.
Like mayonnaise.
Voila. Exactly.
Like mayonnaise.
So if you want to really pronounce the N, you wait until you call the people. Otherwise, you don't pronounce it, man.
They speak French there.
Oui, oui.
Oh, that's why Gabon has become Gabon. I get it.
You get it?
A coward sweats in water.
A coward sweats in water. This one, Jimmy Gathu. We've been trying to decode this proverb since yesterday.
A coward sweats in water.
Yes.
Only a coward sweats in water, Abi.
What does that mean? I mean, what's the proverb saying?
My guess is if somebody says he can do something, you put him in a situation, there you will see him sweating.
Ish.
There he will tell you, oh, actually, I can't do this. So if somebody tells you he can swim, throw him in water and see what happens.
If he floats, he floats.
Yeah.
If he dies, he
if
dies.
he doesn't die, as in water, he's sweating. You notice city's not looking at us. My take.
I mean,
Yeah.
I read it, but even I couldn't figure it out. But, but Eric gave a perspective that I found interesting.
Which was?
That is, when someone is sweating, water is supposed to provide a certain cooling effect. But this is a case where even that cooling effect...
It's not working.
It's not working. You can tell this guy is still sweating. That one.
He's covered in water. Jimmy Gathu.
Sir.
From Jimmy Gathu Live.
How's it going?
Karibu sana bwana.
Asante. Mwisho nikuja nikuongeleshe. Wewe city na
Ndu. This story is of you coming on Saturday afternoon, blah, 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 blah. No, you start coming in the morning.
Why?
That's the directive from above.
Why?
The new
That's where he's
government.
above from.
The new incoming government.
This is, oh, wow.
Executive Order number 001 of 2023. Jimmy Gathu morning.
Must be coming to work in the morning.
Yes.
At Situation Room.
Yes.
Anyway.
We've been talking about this for a while. The big Samsung unpacking.
Yes. Yes.
So tell us about it.
Okay, so today at 4 p.m., Samsung, which is basically the biggest global smartphone company, is launching two phones. So the reason why it's brought to Situation is because it's actually for people our age, if I say that correctly. If you remember the days of flips and
you know your age
and
is you
flickers.
City. As guys are young, but
cities
Still chicks.
Look.
Yeah, I didn't say anything.
You're not-
City, I
you're
didn't say
walking on
anything.
eggshells. I am old. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Older.
yeah, no, old.
No, no,
yes.
older.
No, old. Yes.
Yes.
By the time you're 64 years of age, you're old.
Oh.
You can twist it, flip it, do what you want with it. You are old. Okay.
Flip it, Jimmy.
Oh, he did that. He did that. You can flip it or flop it.
Yes.
There you are. Or fold it.
Yes.
Fold it.
Or even dance with it from side to side.
Boom, boom. Anyway, so
Kabisa.
it's happening today from 4 p.m. It's a global event. We will be live on KTN Home and Facebook. And they're launching two phones, the Galaxy Z Fold 4 and Galaxy Z Flip 4. So we don't have the details there because they want it to be a huge surprise.
So you just know it's a Z Fold
It's a
4.
Z, yeah.
And a
All
Z
I
Flip
know
4.
is
Fold
it's
folds.
something that I want to have. So it's a flip and a flop and a fold. And a,
There are
and a
two
fold.
phones, huh?
There are two phones.
So it's not one phone doing the,
No.
Flipping and folding.
Fold and flip. And they're both fours. So, but the difference is these are, it's almost similar to, think of any latest smartphone. And they're saying it will give the current ones huge competition.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah.
And I can imagine when they first launched the first Fold.
Yes.
You know, it was difficult to imagine that you open up a phone.
Yes.
And the screen now becomes double
Yes.
the size.
Yes.
And there's no crack or line in the middle.
No.
And there's no joint in the middle. It becomes one continuous, like, you know, you folded your TV, unabeba kwa nini.
Exactly. That's why they're known as, the leaders in fold or flip phone technology. So this is going to be huge. And they said, SpiceFM is the place to do it. So, yay. We're happy.
So they'll be here.
Yeah.
From
I
4
am
p.m.
hoping, and I guess that's the reason I'm here, that I'll walk away with I mean, to be part of my Asante.
Of course, you know.
That isn't going to happen, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, City, you should have put your mic off because now the Mdosias are that story.
No, it's not going to happen. I want the Mdosi to hear.
So what are we going to be showing? Are we going to be showing the event as it happens here?
Yes.
Or are we going to be showing the event as it happens in globally?
So
where is it going to be launching?
Everyone globally will be watching the event from here. Oh, yes. Yeah. So it's going to be on Facebook Live.
Repeat that so that everybody can understand.
Everyone will be watching.
So we are
the
not
event
watching
from here. No,
we are not.
We're not
Kenyans are not
part
watching Korea.
Yani, we are it.
We are it.
Kenyans are not watching Korea.
No,
it is Koreans who will be watching Kenya. SpiceFM.
So it's happening here. Yes.
Right. Mashika.
It took a bit of time.
I know.
But
Tumeshika.
You see,
So it's happening.
Meaning, global is happening here.
Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you. So it's a community. So it's KTN Home. It will also be on the Samsung website, samsung.com, and their YouTube channel as well. Okay, so yes.
Which basically says, it means...
So we are part of the global launch.
If you were watching something that's happening elsewhere, the phone will be elsewhere and we'll just be watching on the screen.
Come on.
Here, it will be happening.
We are the elsewhere.
So we are the elsewhere.
She's in your elsewhere.
So the phones will be out
here.
And then everybody else will be watching as Jimmy is holding that phone
And I stand to be
and
corrected if I'm wrong,
flipping
but
it,
yes,
right?
that's the
so
info
Jimmy
I have,
flips the phone
Jimmy,
and
it's
then...
okay. This information is okay.
You see, like the way today people are giving provisional results and celebrating.
And
it's okay.
declaring themselves.
Dude, so now you're making me feel nervous. Yeah.
Why?
Well, yes. Anyway, yes.
So you want to start sweating in water, Jimmy?
There you are. There you are. I've demonstrated it. Yes, I have. Anyway, yes.
Samsung is big and global. And I mean, we've talked about the technological advancements in the smartphone era. The first time we thought of phone, feature phone, then polyphonic ringtone. I remember you, Jimmy, early in the 90s when you were walking around with a pager.
Yes.
This is the one.
yes. Kwanta, I had the first version, the second one. The first
Model one
the first version
of the
you had to
pager.
go to a telephone booth and call.
So you just
or
get
to a phone.
You get a message telling you
thing.
someone is calling you. Take us through, by the way, what was happening? So this.
So there was a company.
My young man, I'm looking at this guy, and he's
service.
walking around with like a thing on his waist.
Goodness.
Cool.
Yeah.
And it's all cool.
So it was basically for doctors and engineers, if I remember correctly. And then
so we take it that you are both a
they
doctor
expanded.
and
No,
an
so they
engineer.
expanded it. They wanted more customers. And
They made it a
then I was
lifestyle.
working for Kate when KTN was at Nyeri House.
Yes.
And they came to do a presentation, and I got one. So the first version was the one where you get a message, you could hear the message when you press it, and then you walk into or you get to a phone, the big phone,
and you call.
and call.
Those dial-up things.
The dialer, yeah. And then they had the second version where it was a lot more, advanced, where the message would scroll on a small screen. So that's the one that, that people have seen me wearing on Facebook.
Okay.
And then there was the third one where you could, where I think you could respond to, but
You could text back.
Yes, you could text back, yeah. But then when that one came out, then stories about they're going to start, the mobile phone
Mobiles
is going to
came.
come in, and later on to be cheaper. And so it didn't last long.
But
So
the
Jimmy
company
transitioned from that into a mobile phone now. Started walking around with a huge, gigantic
Eric, those
thing.
things were telephone booths. I mean, the thing was massive.
It was huge.
You
It
couldn't
was-
put it in
yeah.
your pocket.
You
There was no
couldn't.
question.
You had to walk with it,
You walk-
carrying it. Yes,
how-
it was like this. Huge thing. Now it's reduced to this.
And that time, it was only a phone.
It was only a phone.
All you could do
No
is
pictures,
receive
no videos.
and call.
You couldn't
and
text.
receive.
You could not
Yeah.
text.
Yeah.
You could not.
True.
Then we went to now where you could now start texting.
Yes.
And sending
And you
messages.
remember it was 072, not 22.
Yes.
But you know the beauty of all that, huh? Anything telephonic had to be static. It was in one place. You receive the call. Now, the reason why this booth was interesting was you could walk with it.
Wherever you are.
That was the thing.
That
You
was
could
it.
actually
Yeah.
walk
Oh,
with it. Then someone between some other guys came up with something which used the satellite. Satellites had already been there.
Yes.
Okay. So when you now have a telephone that is a camera, At the same time,
I know.
it can send money. Okay, at the same time,
connecting to the internet.
You connect to the internet.
You can take a picture.
Yes.
You can take a picture.
And comes out instantly. Before you had to take a week if you took pictures back in the day.
CT had a guy.
Did what?
CT had a guy at Uhuru Park that they would like book on Saturday.
Yeah.
When it was, whomever's birthday or graduation.
What do you mean, CT? We all had a guy at Uhuru Park.
So, those pictures on KICC kind of thing with your finger?
Yeah, that thing,
yeah. So CT's guy, would you have to go look for the guy, the thing,
Yeah.
take the picture, go, and then book to come back to said Uhuru Park 3 days later?
For him to give
for
you
him
now.
to now give you your thing.
Yeah.
And if it's destroyed, all you get is an apology and, maybe
you take other pictures.
You take some more pictures.
Are they still there? Studio One?
Ramogi.
They're
still there. Ramogi.
Are they still there?
Yes.
Doing the same thing?
Well,
Well, now they're doing something different.
The pictures are digital,
Yeah.
but
And you can
there's
email
still a
them.
studio.
You can frame them and do all these
Frame
wonderful-
the
yeah,
photo.
yeah,
You
of
can
course,
edit
of
the
course.
photo and change the background.
Yes.
So wherever you are, you don't have to transport your guy anymore.
No, you don't
You
have
can,
to.
Take out
No.
your phone and take these pictures. Samsung really doing some great stuff with
Exactly.
that, isn't
And
it?
do you know they say that it's called the Mars rover, the one that's so apparently
that vehicle that went
that's chopping laps on Mars.
Planet,
Yeah.
and it's been doing a thing there.
Yes.
It's been doing
the
safari
smartphone-
rally in Mars.
And there you are.
Yes.
The smartphone has a lot more capabilities for storage than that machine. So you can imagine all that in this small thing.
Walking around with it. Photo camera and then the video camera. You were blessed if you had a camcorder. Yeah, I mean, it was just big people who had cameras. I mean, Jimmy Gath walking around with a camera crew, guy carrying a huge Betacam camera with a huge tape.
Let me tell you. So during the post-election, during the bomb, the August
98.
7th, yes. So it was a crazy situation. So all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And everyone had to rush to see what was happening. So I remember the only person who could take off with the camera was Jeff, because he was pretty stocky.
Yeah.
Because that thing was heavy. It was huge. But now you can.
You can do it.
Now
do it on your phone.
we
You
are
can do it
actually
on
now
phone.
seeing people broadcasting live on TV using mobile phones.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, we've come that far. Someone just sitting and you set up your camera, your phone on a tripod and live.
You can have a bash now. You don't have to hire a DJ.
That's it.
Just plug your phone onto sound system speakers. Boom.
All
then
that
you
is-
have a full DJ
I
on your
know.
phone.
And when
you're
you're
the
done,
coolest guy. Yeah.
and when you're done, like Samsung, you can fold it and put it in your pocket.
Dude, come on now.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you fold it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
put it in
yeah.
your pocket and you're
Exactly.
done.
Yeah.
So this thing gives you, when you say opening it, I'm thinking,
boom.
So the screen you have before you is bigger.
Yeah. When you open it, so
Yes.
you can imagine. So you can fold it, and to fit in this hand, the new phones. Yes.
Then you open it up, and lo and behold.
Yeah. And like he says, you can't even tell where the line is. It's amazing. The technology is
same.
amazing. Yes.
And
And
you can
this
even
time
have
around,
a
bigger and
split
better.
screen now. even for
Exactly.
this. So you can be watching something and then you move it to the side. So you're watching, let's say, the live stream of KTN News as the results are being transmitted. It's on one side, and then on this other side, you
You
are
do your
working.
thing.
You're working on your documents. You're working on your messages. You're working.
It's an amazing
Same phone.
It's amazing. So from 4 p.m. today, we'll be live on KTN Home, Samsung.com, and of course their YouTube channel as well. So
Yeah.
it's a huge event. It's big.
Are there tickets for
You
people
can
who
see
want to
the
come?
setup outside. It's huge.
Are there tickets for people who would like to come?
Now you're doing, so you can.
It's you,
just
but
walk
now
in.
we're working. We're asking you.
Jimmy, we're not on somebody else to come and talk to you.
The guy.
You're asking for the
We're
guy.
I'm the
you.
guy.
I
Don't
mean,
worry.
sure.
I'll sign you in.
Yeah, okay. So kuja hapo sema mimi niliambiwa na Jimmy nikuje.
And then you tell him, Jimmy ni mtu tunajua sana.
Yeah.
Nenda umuulize.
Hata
you
angalia
should know people.
hata angalia niko naye kwa simu.
You should know
Nimpigie
people.
usikie.
Ongea na huyo adabu.
Okay, so for those people who don't know Jimmy, how will they be able to be, part of the launch? For those of us who.
I think log on to Facebook, KTN Home.
Yeah.
Log on to samsung.com or watch on the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And by the way, there'll be gifts that you can win a gift hamper. We'll ask you questions, and if you can figure it out, then you win. So make sure you watch, because there's lots to win, lots of information. It's a big event. So more specifically, who knows? Maybe you will walk away with the phone. Maybe.
That's a good one.
But lots and lots of goodies to win from 4 p.m. Yeah.
From 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So the stream will be up from 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly earlier.
Slight-
5 minutes.
Slightly
So
earlier.
just make sure that you're there, logged in, watch what this is happening, and then get to understand about the phone.
Exactly.
Then also we'll get to know when the phone is available in the market, how much it's going to be costing,
all
shops
those
that will be available,
yeah,
all those
exactly.
details
Will be
today.
How much it's gonna be retailing at. We are lucky as Kenya. It's, it will drop here quicker than other places in the continent. So it's huge for us. Yeah.
Jimmy.
Cheers, man.
Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
So executive order number 1, you have at least started,
I've done well.
Yeah, you've done well.
Yeah.
So we expect to be seeing you more
Oh,
regularly
man.
in the morning. So thank you very much, Jimmy.
Asante.
Jimmy Gathu, he'll be here this afternoon from 4 p.m. during give the whole proper title of this event.
So it's called the Samsung Unpacked.
Samsung
Unpacked. Yes.
Right.
Launching the Flip and the Flop 4.
The Flip and the Fold.
And the Fold 4, sorry. Flip and Fold.
The Fold.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. 24 minutes past 9. We come back to monitoring what's happening in the elections across the country. Let's take this quick break first, take a look at the weather and traffic, and then see whether we can get in touch with one or two of our correspondents. And then we also open up the phone lines for you. Tell us what you feel about this election.
When you're impeached, you're impeached. When you're sentenced, you're sentenced.
Madam Chief
Until the sentence is set aside.
Ukibeba vitu kwa roho utakufa. If you carry things in your heart, you will die.
You've had the luxury of living for 50 years and you cannot still explain yourself. Surely. Oh my God.
The reason for which you went to school and then gathered experience, that reason must be paid for.
All right.
Okay.
This level.
Shape up or ship out.
Levels don't change.
No.
It's about shipping up.
You know my business partner here.
Shipping out.
Are we talking about the ship in the bathtub? Or
the ship man.
Emmanuel Talamu used to tell us a story of they were in school and they'd been told to write composition about a ship. His classmate raises a hand. Teacher, are you talking about the ship or a ship goat?
We're closer than ever to the 2022 general election, and now you can stay up to date wherever you are on the provincial results for the presidential, gubernatorial, senatorial, women rep, MP, and MCA seats. Just SMS the word Kura to 23278. Digger Classifieds is an all-in-one platform to find jobs, buy and sell motor vehicles or properties, to pay tributes to the special people in your life. www.digger.co.ke, the one address in Kenya that everyone loves to visit. Digger Classifieds.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
In Nairobi at 16, we'll see highs of 23. 24 will be the high and a mostly cloudy. Nakuru at 17. And it's raining in Nyeri at 14. We'll go to highs of 20 and lows of 13. And partly sunny conditions at 16 in Eldoret with highs of 22. It's 22 and raining in Mombasa, highs of 27 and lows of 22. While light rain in Malindi at 25, highs of 27 and lows of 23. It's sunny at 23 in Kisumu, highs of 28 and lows of 18, while Kakamega is sunny at 23. We'll see highs of 27 and lows of 15. 22 and sunny in Kampala, highs of 27 and lows of 18, while Dar es Salaam is raining this morning at 23. We'll see highs of 28 and lows of 21. It's 12 degrees, slightly warmer now in Johannesburg, highs of 22 and lows of 9, and sunny conditions at 23 in Lagos. We'll go to highs of 30. 31 will be the high in a sunny Kinshasa. Let's look out into Beijing, where it's sunny at 31. It'll go to highs of just that today. 20 degrees and cloudy in Paris, highs of 33. And we'll see highs of 28 in a cloudy London at 17. It's 27 degrees and clear still Tuesday night in New York. Coming into Thursday, Wednesday, I beg your pardon, we'll see highs of 31 and lows of 24. Not much in terms of traffic this morning. It's been a good day for you to get in and out of the city and into different parts of the country today. Traffic still hasn't turned up. We'll probably see that towards the end of the week. So it's good to go where you're going without too much of a delay. Today, talk to us through the morning. SpiceFM KE. Twitter.
Classic soul, R&B, smooth jazz, neo soul, and nostalgic ballads.
Make some noise. Yeah.
You're listening to Spice FM. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
29 minutes after 9. We continue. Remember, you can go to standardmedia.co.ke/2022 elections to get the wall-to-wall coverage and the blow-by-blow as the numbers come in. These numbers that we are putting in here are the numbers that we are receiving from our people at the polling stations, the Forms 34A, and then we put in there, we receive the results in our media center and our data center, and then they go onto this website, and they are also what's being projected on TV. So far, national tally, yes, from the numbers that we have. And remember, we are only talking about the numbers that have come from polling stations that we have received, not those that have been declared by IEBC. It's not. We are also not declaring this as a final results. Is what we have so far. 526,860 for William Ruto. 403,241 for Raila Odinga. That's 56.24% for Ruto and 43.04% for Raila, and 0.49% for Wajakoya. Wahiga Maura, 2,128 votes. Looking at the results per county, Busia County, Raila is leading with 60.78%. That's just about 4,331 votes out of the counties, the polling centers that we have received from Kakamega County. Raila leading 77%. Marsabit County, Ruto leading 74%. West Pokot, Ruto 63%. Bungoma, Ruto 60%. Bomet, Ruto 96.69%. But it's just 96.69% of the numbers that we have received, not of the total number, for example, from that county. What we know from and what you're hearing from our correspondents is that vote counting has been taking place overnight. And remember, we're talking about 6 elections.
Yes.
So they started counting the presidential, then they went into the others. They are now counting the gubernatorial, and this is at the polling station. From this, they fill up the A series of forms. This is presidential 34A, MP 35A, MCA 36A, Governor 37A, Senator 38A, Woman Rep 39A. All of them have got to go to their constituency tallying center, where then the results from all the polling stations in this constituency are tallied and then put into the B series of forms. The 35B indicates the winner of the MP election. The 36B indicates the winner of the MCA election for the various wards in that constituency. Those others go to the county tallying center for the C series. 36C will give us the result of the governor. I mean, the 37C, 38C senator, 39C woman rep, like that. So we are still at the A series. We have not gone to the B series, so we still don't have a very clear, good picture of what's happening. But from the numbers that we are hearing from our correspondents, for example, we spoke to Chris Dairo in Kiambu. He's saying that from the numbers that they've received so far, it's a neck-and-neck race for the gubernatorial race between the current Senator Wamatangi and the current Thika Town MP Wajago. And for the senatorial seat, Karongo Adangwa seems to be taking an early lead. And then for the other seats as well, it's a race.
You know, it reminds me of these Formula One races, the few times I watch them. At the beginning, everyone seems to have the possibility of winning because this one overtakes the other one overtakes the other. So I'm taking the view like you're supposed to do some 24 laps or so. By the fourth lap, this is still going on. This is where we are. There are 20 more laps to go. If you watch it until the end, you'll realize that even when you get to the 18th lap, you're still not sure. Even when you get to the 20th lap, you need to look at this thing when you get to the 22nd lap. Then now, at least there's an approximation of who it is who might actually emerge, the winner. Because some people have clearly dropped off, some people have done the other, and you can tell between these three, barring a situation where your engine suddenly blows up, or you get one of these interesting punctures, or your vehicle veers off, or whatever it is. But you have a clear idea. Right now,
not really clear.
It's far from being clear at all. These are really early days yet.
By end of day today, we'll start getting now a clearer picture, and especially now for the presidential result, because we will start seeing the forms, the B series of the forms being filled out at the constituency level. It'll be clearer. And I actually am seeing that by around 11 p.m. to midnight today or early tomorrow morning, KTN will be able to call the result, the presidential one.
By that time, we'll have a far clearer picture.
It'll be looking much clearer. Maybe if not tonight, midnight, tomorrow morning, we'll be able to say, all right, so we can project that this is a person who is going to win. Or maybe it'll be too close and it'll be like, this race is still too close.
To the wire.
To the wire. It's going to go to the wire.
But there's an interesting debate that has now been brought into the elections this year. It's the alternate tallying stations that also exist. Because IEBC will pronounce what they have. And as I can see, media houses have their own, we have our own, and they'll be looking. And then there's ELOG, and there are all these other people who will also be doing their tallying. And it'll be interesting to see if indeed they're in agreement as to what has happened and how it has happened. Because that is always part of our debate in this country. Yes.
You know, Commissioner Irene Masit said, when you asked her the question about the turnout, she said that they are projecting a 60% voter turnout at the end, right? Even after today's voting in Eldas constituency, that in the end we'll have a 60% turnout. That's what they're projecting. This is about 16 million voters.
Yes.
You know, if we look at the process of simply casting one's vote and the time that some of these polling stations ended, right now we're in the throes of actually counting votes in very many parts of the country. Now, there is also the issue of not just the voter turnout, but the registered voters in the areas that we're speaking of. This is always the debate about these matters. So until those votes are all counted and all dots are done, whatever you need to do to dots, and the T's also have the things that require T's being done to, then again, you then begin to have, so this is the direction in which this particular thing is actually going. All right. Okay, so maybe we celebrated prematurely. Or perhaps we did celebrate, but at least there'll be clarity. Because the thinking is that when you start seeing results on the screen, you assume that every polling station, 46,000 plus in the country, have sent in their results and that everything has been done. That's not really the truth. The truth is the process, the actual process of counting is still taking place in very many places.
Indeed.
Yes.
This is it. And look, I think that a lot of things have happened at the same time. We're just getting, reports then now from the Ministry of Education that even seeing that schools were supposed to open tomorrow, looking at this, schools that were supposed to open tomorrow will now open on the 15th of August. This has just come from
See,
the
they should have
Ministry of
just said this from the beginning.
They should have said this from the beginning. But this is just lending to what
Can you
said.
imagine those people who had booked the train for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Again,
here we are going into that, knowing full well, because guess what, CT, what you've just said for it is the same situation it was 5 years ago. It's the same situation it was 5 years before that. That the morning after, you're very unlikely to be able to tell what the situation will be. And that, if anything, is what should feed a decision that will be made later on. Yeah, so the question, why tell people to go back to school on Thursday? A day after an election has been held. You don't even know the different factors that are going to lend to. It's interesting because the CS has apologized from the onset in this statement. He has apologized and said, look, we're sorry for any inconvenience that this would cause. But again, can you celebrate the morning after you've casted votes? You really can't. Can you be sure of what the situation is when you have not gotten tallying center results announced? You haven't. So I think there's a lot. But the thing is that everybody who's invested in one way or another is anxious to hear what the outcome will be. Can you go on that? You really can't. And so we're looking again at a situation, just for you to know, that schools that were supposed to have opened tomorrow, basic education institutions, were supposed to open on the 11th. We've heard now from the CS that those will open on the 15th of August. And so that is going out. By the end of the day, everybody should know what's going on.
15th is Gani.
15th is Monday. Okay? 15th is Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing about the election and the emotions that it generates is that it tends to cloud one's thinking capacity. Because so many people have so much vested in these elections, and I dare say sometimes they don't actually quantify what it is and why it is they're that vested. Because, again, if you look at our election results, specifically the presidential results, or even at the very local, the MCA results, the vast majority of people don't necessarily have the person that they wanted elected. Because somebody gets a majority, but it doesn't mean that they are the ones who actually got the most votes. Not necessarily. The 50 plus 1 is for the presidential race. The others,
simple majority.
You just win. That's it.
Simple majority.
Yes. And what do you do? For the next 5 years, you live with this person who was elected.
Yeah.
Now, the focus ought to be what you do and what eventually happens, because that's the reality. Everything else here, it is like a mirage. You're being carried along with it. The euphoria is carrying you along. But the reality is, it doesn't really matter who is elected. You are going to live with that person.
Whoever is elected becomes your leader.
Yes, it doesn't matter.
Whether
It doesn't
your choice
really.
or not.
Yes, because everything that could have determined the result has happened. You voted. It's out of your hands completely. So now, the preparation ought to be, yes, how will I live my life after this, irrespective of who it is who wins this particular election?
Regardless.
Yes, the Kenyan word, irregardless.
19 minutes to 10. Let's cross over to our correspondent in Laikipia, Derito Geshure. Good morning, Derito.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Derito. In which part of Laikipia are you right now?
I'm in Laikipia East constituency. We are starting for the constituency is going on. It seems former cabinet secretary for agriculture Mwangi Kujuri is on read. With the 28,371 votes. Against the current MP, Amin Mohamed Dedi, was so far garnered 25,458. 58 was so far garnered 25,458. We have more than we only have 5 more polling stations remaining.
So these are the results from the polling stations to the constituency tallying center.
Yes, to the constituency tallying center.
Right.
Yes.
How is it looking for the other races, the woman rep race and the governor race?
The governor is former governor for Laikipia,
Irongo.
Irongo, has taken another lead. Yes.
Is it what kind of margin are we talking about? This is between Irongo and so the former governor and the current governor, is it?
Yes, the current governor, Dorito Moreithi. So far, then he has taken over. Irongo has taken another lead, and we still have more than out of this 565 polling stations. We still have over 236 polling stations which have not returned their results.
Okay.
We are so far waiting for the results.
Okay.
Yes.
What's happening in the other constituencies? There are 3 constituencies in Laikipia County, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
So what?
So far,
what do you hear from the other constituencies?
So far, we have Kala Kolel in Laikipia North. She has taken another lead also. She's contesting on a Jubilee Party ticket. We also have Laikipia West, where Wajir Karani from UDA has also taken another lead. Yes.
Okay. And in terms of the presidential one, do you have any figures that you can share with us? What are you seeing? What are you?
The figures I have so far, though they are yet to release the figures for the presidential figures.
Yep.
UDA presidential candidate William Samoei Ruto has also taken a lead. So far, we have received some provisional results from Kano polling station ground, like in central, in Nyakuru, in Nyanyuki Central, and he has taken President UDA candidate Uhuru Ruto has taken over.
Is William Ruto.
William Ruto.
Yes.
He has taken another lead.
Okay. Derito,
Yes.
thank you for sharing with us what you're seeing on the ground. We hope to be in touch with you at least tomorrow morning. Then you'll have a greater clarity, even from the county tallying center. Asante sana, Derito.
Sure, I will.
Derito Geshure is our man in Laikipia County. Let's go to the Rakanithi. George Kaimenyi is there. George, hello.
Yes.
How are you doing, George?
Kosarama.
Kabisa.
George. Yes.
So where are you? You know, when people hear Tharaka Nithi,
Actually,
which town are you in?
Niko mari inaitwa Marimanti.
Marimanti
in Tharaka Nithi. Actually, I was heading to Chakariga, the main tarring center.
Yes. So what are you seeing so far from the results that are coming in terms of the constituency races and the county races?
Kulingana venye kuko hapa Tharaka Nithi, kwa sasa kila kitu tuseme wapiga kura wote wako kam, uchaguzi iko sawa. Kuja hapa presidential candidate ambaye anaongoza ni William Ruto. Akifuatwa na kwa karibu Raila Odinga.
Kwa karibu.
Lakini watu kwa karibu, lakini ukiangalia kwa unaona Wajakoya pia akozi 2-3.
Na kwa race ya governor, how is it?
The race of governor, actually in Tharaka Nithi tuko na Muthomi Njoki, the current governor.
Yep.
Na the former VC Chuka University ambaye anaitwa Erastus Joka. But for now Muthomi Njoki is leading. Akifuatiliwa na Mudhomi Njoka. Mudhomi is reading, then Erastus Joka is scoring.
So in which party is Erastus?
Erastus anaomba kiti na Jubilee.
All right, and Mudhomi is in UDA.
Ambaye iko kwa Azimio. Alafu Mudhomi Njoke pia anaomba kiti na UDA.
Okay.
Okay.
George, then ukikuza yes.
What is the total number of registered voters in Tharaka Nithi County?
Currently, that's what I'm following up. In short, I'll be in touch. Yes, nitakuwa na brief every.
Sawa. Asante sana George.
Alafu kitu kingine from Tharaka Nithi, there was a delay of voting because of logistics. Now, for now, chenye kinaendelea ni counting sahi, because sasa mambo ya kupiga kura ilisha usiku si ile masaa ya IEBC ambao walikuwa wametenga.
Walifunga polls ngapi?
Walifunga kutoka, kuna wengine walifunga saa 3 mahali nilikuwa nafuatilia. Kuna wenye walifunga saa 2. Sababu kuna wenye walifunguliwa kituo ambayo kulingana venye IEBC ilikuwa imeweka timetable yao, ilikuwa ianze 6 So because of logistics ikachelewa, wakaanza kufungua from 9 a.m. in the morning yesterday. So pia the governor akaomba nafasi au watu ambao huko Tharaka constituency ongezewa nafasi, huyo muda ambao walikuwa ilikuwa imepotea bure hivyo.
Kuna areas tulikuwa tumeona areas ambazo there were issues with some residents destroying some polling.
Kuna mali ambayo inaitwa Kano in Tharaka Nithi. Actually venye kulikuwa kuna gari ambayo ilikuwa inapeleka vitu hizi za IEBC materials to the Tharaka Nithi constituency. Then chenye ili happen, the residents waliona gari au wameona the escort ambayo ilikuwa nyuma kidogo. So they thought kuna vitu ambayo IEBC ama vitu ambazo zimeibiwa za kula. So wakati crowd ilijaa wakaanza kudestroy, but wakati ile gari ambayo ilikuwa imeescort ilifika, walijaribu control everything. Na kila kitu kaenda normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
George Kaimenyi, thank you very much for speaking to us. We'll be in touch with you again tomorrow for more updates. Let's cross over to Kakamega. Alan Ochanda is there. Alan, good morning.
Good morning to you. Indeed, not really in Kakamega, but in the neighboring county of Bungoma, where the electioneering exercise is actually going on smoothly, except for the incident yesterday where the Member of Parliament for Kimilili, Didmas Baraza, was accused and was actually alleged to have drawn his pistol and shot at an aide of his opponent, Mr. Brian Hayemba, who belongs to the DAPK party. And so the aide who was shot actually succumbed some hours later while undergoing treatment in a hospital in Bungoma. And so this morning we've been talking to the county police commander, Mr. Francis Coley, and really saying that the Member of Parliament is actually still on the run. Of course, quoting him verbatim, is that the Member of Parliament is still on the run, and they are doing all they can to ensure that he actually presents himself or they arrest him. So they have actually issued a 24-hour ultimatum for the MP to surrender to the authorities anywhere within Bungoma. But remember that this is not the only isolated incident in Bungoma. 2 days ago, just before the polls day, we saw the Member of Parliament for Bumula, Mambu Mabonga, and his opponent drawing pistols, these firearms, and almost exchanging, firing at other. And so these are actually issues still under investigation. And so in Bungoma, we've seen those several
2 incidences.
Sorry for that. Several issues, several security incidents are really happening here. But the county police commander has assured us that they are actually on top of the game and will ensure that security is this stuff during these polling exercises, and of course the vote counting period, so that they could just ensure that security is actually everywhere in Bungoma County.
Alan, where is Didmas Barasa?
Didmas Barasa is nowhere to be seen. He's not on the police radar. He's actually on the police radar, but they do not know his the current location because, of course, his phone, his known numbers are actually switched off. And so, to that effect, they cannot really locate him. But they have actually issued the 24-hour ultimatum. But, of course, the 24-hour ultimatum, we really do not know if it has reached him or not, because, of course, we were talking on KTN News. It was live. So maybe they assume that his personal aides will get him the information and just maybe implore him to surrender to the authorities, or they institute arrest on him.
Has there been any reaction from Brian Haemba and his supporters?
Brian Haemba is actually been a magistrate. He's actually a lawyer, and he's been practicing in Nairobi. Just new in politics. Yesterday, he actually took an OB number from the police, from the authorities here, recorded a statement, and we also saw, actually he stopped at that, but we saw the CS defense, Eugene Omalo, of course, is actually associated with the DAP-K party, that is actually the party that is associated also with Brian Haemba. He issued a statement here really condemning that act and calling on the authority to swing into action. But Mr. Haemba has actually really been silent on the matter after recording with the police. Only for the CS, who's actually been condemning it and really calling out the member of parliament because, of course, really misuse of firearms, and calling on the authorities in Bungoma to intervene and ensure they disarm him and institute maybe charges against him.
So, I mean, again, listening to what the ground may say about this in terms of what happened, do we see any reactions from those who may have been in the area, voters who are asking questions in terms of what happened and are condemning this at whatever level?
Okay, to this end, remember that is actually still, it's alleged.
It's alleged, of course,
alleged
yes.
It's the one who pulled the trigger. And so, really going to the Wananchi could maybe going to the merits and demerits of the case, because Didmas Barasa has not even given his side of the story.
Sure.
And so that is what the authorities are still waiting for before they can institute charges against him. And so the Wananchi,
by way of even asking him to show up at any police station, right?
Yeah, he should show up so that yes, they could listen to his side of the story before instituting any charges against him, whether it's attempted murder, manslaughter, or murder.
Alan Achanda, thank you very much for speaking to us. Thank you for giving us the update from Bungoma County.
Well, karibu sana.
Asante. Let's cross to Nyamira. Stanley Ongwai is there. Stanley, good morning.
Good morning.
Nyamira is one of those hotly contested gubernatorial races, and also at the national level, and of course at the local level as well for MP and MCA. How's it looking?
Still, the results are coming in. The tallying exercises are going on in various constituent tallying centers, and so far we cannot say that there's a winner, we can say, but going by the tallies that have been done by independent observers, there are indications that the race is still tough in some constituencies. But it has come out that there are some people who have been seen as provisional winners, like in West Mugirango, the perennial contestant Steve Mogaka. There's indication that he has won the race, though with a small margin. He won. The provisional stats are showing that he's winning with around 17,000 votes, with his close challenger, Rogers Mosuri, also garnering around 16,000 votes. And the incumbent, Vincent Kemosi of Ford Kenya, is also at the third position with around 15,000. We can see how close the challenge is.
Yep.
And with the other constituencies, Joash Nyamok of North Mogrango, the incumbent, there's an indication he is retaining the seat. He is from UDA. And Kitutu Masaba, a new entrant is coming in, Cleve Ombane Gisairo. Is also coming in and is likely to win with a slightly bigger margin against the incumbent Shadrach Mose of UDA. Gisairo is of ODM. And then in Borabu, we have Patrick Osero of ODM, also likely to be declared a winner because the provisional results that have been accessed show that he's ahead. And then for the gubernatorial seat, we have the incumbent Amos Nyaribo. With the tallies that have been collected from various polling centers, is ahead in both in his stronghold in North Mugirango constituency, and he has also led in Borabu constituency and West Mugirango. And he has also gotten quite a good number of votes from Kitutu Masaba. And remember, this is a county where clanism is deeply rooted, but he has rose above the odds of clanism to claim some votes from Kitutu Masaba. So he's likely to win over his other closest challenger, Walter Nyambati of UDA. Nyaribo is of United Progressive Party, UPA. Which is
Stanley,
associated with CS Matiangi.
Thank you for that link, Stanley, and thank you very much for the updates. We'll be, of course, in touch with you even tomorrow, I'm sure. A lot will still be happening when we come back. Remember, at 4 o'clock today.
So, at 4 o'clock today is the global launch of the Galaxy Unpacked. There's a watch and win competition that will see consumers walk away with various gift hampers. You're encouraged to fill in the form, watch Unpacked, and we will be asked some questions. Winners will be picked on the 15th of August. Kindly use that information so that you know what to do when you're watching the global launch from 4 p.m. today.
Indeed. Have a lovely day. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Good morning and good day, 10 a.m.
The